Wait, is there any part of you when you we're rolling right now? By the way, is there any part of you when you see this legit I want to say I'm almost too much a dad. Cause I have the hot dog and the donut floaty and the basketball hoop.
I don't believe in that.
Feel free to move this anywhere you want.
Thank you. There's no such thing as too much dad. As someone that had an absentee father,
I have so many questions about I've known you for. Definitely as long as George has been alive. How long have you been doing stand-up?
I was thinking about this on the way over. I feel like I've known you forever, but we don't know each other super well.
Right, 100%. I feel like how's the AC sound?
It's pretty loud.
Well, then turn it off and we'll turn it on if we need to.
If we need to, yeah.
Yeah, turn it off and we'll turn it on if we need to.
I feel like if you needed an organ, I'd give you one, but I don't know your middle name.
You wouldn't want any of my organs.
No, I said I'd give you one.
Yeah.
I'm good on yours.
Thank you.
I'd rather go on
I don't think anyone's taking mine.
I'd rather go on the dark web.
That's Bert's heart. Huh,
yeah.
Wow. How many months do we have on this? No, I felt like that.
Looks like silly putty.
It's a weird part of this business is you do feel like you know people.
Yeah.
And then you'll take liberties with them. And I think that's how we reconnected.
Yeah,
I posted a picture of you for the jumbotron at LAX, but it was at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
But it was because I was sitting next to Tony Hernandez and Lily, which two people you had worked with.
Yeah.
And we were going on Instagram trying to see my picture come up, and it was a picture of you and a horse, and we started laughing at the idea of,
and I'm embarrassed about the way that I reacted.
Oh,
no, because I have these friends in Chicago that are obsessed with you, and you were so kind as to make a birthday or a Father's Day video for them.
Oh,
they're so obsessed with you, and they texted me and were like, "Hey, Bert just posted something of you," and I've been, I don't know, and this is something I need to work on, but I'm just so insecure about comics and making fun of me, and then look, and I did the roast. I've made fun of people. I do it too, but it was a little bit of the default was I just assumed that I was being made fun of, and I know you though, and I'm like, that's not Bert, that's not
at all.
And I texted Rogan and I was like, is this? And he's like, there's no way, there's absolutely no way he's making. And then
it's not my personality, but more importantly, what bummed me out was that it was so funny. I could not stop laughing about it.
Good.
And that I immediately thought everyone would find it as equally as funny as I did.
Yeah.
Because the concept was if you use LA Rams or Mob Squad in a hashtag at a Rams game, it goes up on the jumbotron.
I love that.
And so then I did it. I do it all the time. I'm obsessed with it. And the more likes you get, the more
it'll go to the top.
It'll go to the top, and it always gets played. And so I have pictures from the first season that are still getting played.
Oh, that's so.
And so my goal is to be all over that fucking thing. And so I'm doing with my buddy Tony, and we were a little buzzed, and Lily, who's even 10 times funnier than Tony, his wife, was like, oh my God, and your picture came, I scrolled trying to refreshed, and your picture came up. She goes, oh my God, I didn't know Whitney's at the Rams game, because it was a picture of you and your horse.
Yeah.
And I started laughing, oh my God, what if we just reposted it?
Funny.
And so I didn't even repost it. I screen grabbed it and posted it, and then said, oh, so cool to see, having a great time at the Rams game with my horse or whatever, hashtag Mob Squad. And then I was like, I was jittery. I was excited, looking up, going, oh, when's it going up? When's it going up? When's it going up? And it goes, I think it went up once, and someone goes, who the fuck brings their horse to a game? And the person with them goes, no, obviously it's one of the cops' horses. And they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then
so funny.
And so we could not stop fucking laughing. And then obviously,
and then I'm like, hey,
it melted down.
Are you mad at me?
I was at Steve-O's house, and I think I got a direct message from you, but I never look at those.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my, and then you feel horrible, because, by the way, I have something in me that I don't realize it is, but I have a bully mechanism where I will say things for the moment to get a laugh, and I don't realize it's compromising people's feelings.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Well, here's the thing. With comics, sometimes it's not. With real humans...
With comics, it's even more so.
Interesting.
Especially with me, because I'm not that guy. I'll do it. It happens more with lay people with me.
That's fascinating.
One time our friend came over and she was wearing...
Wow.
I still giggle about this, but a white and navy blue pinstripe dress, and it just looked like a New York Yankees. I mean, it was identical to a New York Yankees uniform. Yeah. Identical. And as she opened the door, she goes, hey, everybody. I go, playing third base for the New York Yankees. And you don't realize that I just ruined her day.
If you did that to me, I would think it was funny though.
Yeah, but then all day it's like that Charlie Murphy story. That dress was just burning in her skin. Like,
yes, it was. But she feels mocked. I mean, I've learned this the hard way. I think there's definitely sort of different echelons of people you can mess with. I think when I started comedy, like everyone was so mean to me. Guys, that's back when you could be mean to women and you weren't worried you'd be a hashtag and your life would be over.
I missed that. Only because I was married. So I do my set, get drunk, go home.
Yeah.
So like I never talked to women.
This isn't a big loss for you.
Yeah, I never talked to women, nor did I care.
Yeah.
I was always more supportive in like that. Like, I don't know. I've always thought women are funny. I never really saw the difference. Like you, Eliza, Amy, Nikki, fucking Chelsea Handler made me laugh harder than anyone's ever made me laugh. I thought she was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I never really caught the
well, it's
bulliness.
not even so much about being funny or not. Like there's plenty of funny women. I'm sure women that aren't funny. There's plenty of funny guys and there's guys that aren't funny. Like I hope there's both like there should be women that aren't funny out there. That actually might be more progress. Like someone who's not funny, like trying to get funny, like but it was the time at the Comedy Store when it was like it was like people were, Ari Shaffir and I have talked about it since, but he would like steal my backpack when I went on stage and like hide it, and like I would go on stage. And already I was going on at 1:30 in the morning in front of 5 people. And then, someone would come and be like, hey, does anyone drive a red Civic? Like during my set, like the parking lot, it's park in the park. I'm like, all right, like the amount of hazing that went on, which I'm actually super grateful for because it helped me develop like a thick skin, but I had to be so rough. Yeah. And I think sometimes I forget, like, I think those days are kind of over where we all pretend like nothing hurts our feelings.
Oh, it's not over for guys.
But I just feel like vulnerability is kind of starting to be in, like the ability to say, like, dude, too far,
I wish.
Yeah, really? You don't feel like you can if someone hurts your feelings?
No.
If I hurt your feelings, would you just...
I'd say something to you.
Because...
Yeah, I'd say something to you because I would never say something to any of my friends.
Like if Rogan hurt your feelings.
No, I would never tell Rogan he hurt my fucking feelings. Hey man, you hurt my feelings.
Hey man, ow.
That's a comical
Can you please? Can we? I would love to prank him somehow by
no.
What if you're like, hey dude, a couple of years ago you made that comment about my calves, and
I know you can too. I can visualize the look on his face, looking at his phone, standing over the.
We can't do it until we're filming him. We have to see his live reaction.
If next time you're with him, and it's you and him after you're doing a podcast, text me and go send the text now, and I'll pre-write the text and I'll share it with you, and then I will send it. But you have to videotape him.
But it's crazy because he's the nicest guy.
He's the nicest guy, but he's a ball breaker. Tom's a ball breaker. Ari's a ball breaker. I'm a ball breaker.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of room.
So what hurts your feelings?
Oh my God, we're not talking about this.
No, this is a bad idea.
Oh my God, I'm in therapy about this right now.
Hey, trolls, let's just make sure that you hit him right where it hurts. That's what we're doing right now. Because there's some, like if someone's like, you fucking look old, like that doesn't bother me for some reason. Like there's certain things, I don't know if I've just gotten desensitized to it or I have come to a point where I don't, but it's
what hurts my feelings is there's a bunch of people that don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Is when you're talking to someone and you're being even, and then you realize very quickly they've never looked at you as an equal. They've always looked down at you, and then you go, and then I'm the thing I'm working on is to shut my mouth and listen. And so like I was talking to someone who was doing a Netflix special, and we were talking, and at one point I said, that's really cool. Oh, I think I shoot mine whenever, like right around then. And they were like, you have a Netflix special? And then I went, yeah. First of all, in my head I was like,
thousands of comics don't, first of all. Yeah. And you're one of...
I guess. And then...
You're one of the most popular comics.
But then I went, yeah. And they're like, wait, hold on. How did you shoot it already and you sold it to them? And I went, no. Like all the stuff that's inside with us. And they're like, wait, you're doing a Netflix original? And I went, yeah. And they're like, wait, where are you shooting? Like, almost like, wait, what the fuck? And then that's what hurts my feelings.
Like I must be mistaken?
Yeah, because then you go, hold on. I've actually been really nice to you. I've always thought you're my friend. And now I'm talking to you and I realize you were friends with me because you looked down on me.
And if I may, that person just looks silly because anybody who's actually in comedy knows that you're...
I think some people are so self-involved.
That's right, that they don't even know.
They don't even know what they're saying to you. And I was talking to Rory Scovel about this because, and he was like, That's amazing. But I think that's what hurts my feelings the most is when you realize you've been nice to someone, you've been their friend, and they've never really been your friend.
Yeah.
They've actually only used you for the person they can talk to when you're at the store.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I've actually, like, I like.
Or someone who is only your friend when you are, or they perceive you're beneath them, and then when you start to get close, they see you as a competitor, and then all of a sudden they're just like not nice anymore.
There's a lot of that I try to stay out of, and I think that's part of the thing of like I don't go to the store every night.
Yeah.
I don't go to. I took
a year off.
You took a year off?
Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about the most is like your career. I think is probably one of the most envied careers.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, I think with all guy or girl, I don't mean. By the way, I'm not saying this because I'm fucking progressive.
I know.
But I don't look at you as a female comic. By the way, okay.
Thank you.
I don't look at you as like I just look at you as a comic.
That's the greatest compliment I can get.
I don't look at Chris D'Elia as a male comic.
Yeah.
I look at
him as a black female comic.
Your career was one that I think everyone goes like, and I don't think you'll ever see it from where you sit. I remember Ari telling me, like, I said something about being on Travel Channel. I go, no one wants my job. And he goes, bro, everyone would love your job. Everyone would love a job for one.
That's right.
Not only that, but one that travels you around the world. And I went, oh, I never thought
That's right, yeah.
But you went from, you created Two Broke Girls.
With Michael Patrick King.
And created, I want to get back to the beginning.
Okay.
I want to talk about the first pitch meeting you had.
Yeah.
Where you walked in.
Yeah.
And you went, I'm in the pocket.
Yeah.
And I can do this. Oh wait, hold on. You want me to? I got another thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in casting sessions.
Yeah.
I want to know from the progression of like 3 a.m. spots at the store. Ari's still in your backpack. We got a red Civic. to like. I'm gonna take a year off from comedy. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a movie.
Right.
Like, I'm curious of those steps.
There's definitely steps, but I think there's also like a little bit of a messy haphazardness to it, which I'll try to get right. I mean, I think for me, what I started doing the roasts. So that was the first thing I did that anybody cared about. I was a writer on the roasts, and then I made a tape of roasting. I want to say Steve Tisch. Who, you know Steve Tisch? Is it the Red Sox or the Giants? He's like one of the co-owners of the Giants, but he's a movie producer.
Okay, yeah.
Tisch School of the Arts in New York. Like there was some charity roast that was like Michael Strahan was there, and like Brett Ratner was there back when Brett Ratner existed. And I did like a charity roast, and we filmed it just on a little camera. Like
you got an offer. Hey, do you want to do this?
And
or did you go like get me on that?
It was Tom Arnold weirdly asked me to do it because he knew that I wrote on the roasts.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get anybody, you know. I think I asked Dove Davidoff to do it. He did it. Dom Irrera did it. It was like in the basement of the Hilton or something. And we recorded it and they gave it to Comedy Central saying like, can I get on the roasts as a roaster? Because I was just a writer at the time.
See, that's something that you have that immediately, like I always joke about the Mickey Mantle gene. My wife jokes about the Oprah gene, but there is a Whitney gene that I believe in, and I believe you have to have that like is like I'm ready for this. I can do this. I can do this competently. Let me show you how good I am.
Or I don't even know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna get ready.
I'm ready to see if I can fly.
Yeah, right. Just push me out.
I got that. I have that. Like I get that with everything else. With comedy, I think most of the time I feel like I'm competent in what I do.
Yeah.
Put me on anything, I'll do fine. But that's only because I've done it for so fucking long.
It's second nature
to you. I know what you're saying. Like, put me in the game.
Put me in, coach. But there's also an element of like I'm so hungry and poor that I need that. Like I don't really have a choice right now. Like I don't have time to get good. I
can't imagine you poor. Like I know you. I know that.
That's so funny.
For real?
Yes. And I could be poor again. I pay for my entire family and none of them have health insurance. I mean, it's like a nightmare. And then I also smoke weed and go on Kickstarter and give money to dog surgeries. And I wake up the next morning and I'm like, there's $1,000. I was hustling hard. When you probably first met me, I was making money from doing focus groups. I would go to focus groups and take weird pills and use weird products and get paid $50 cash. I would sell clothes at Buffalo Exchange for money. And that's how I got money. That's what Two Broke Girls, like, it's based on, like, all the experience of being broke.
That's mind-numbing.
Why? That's so interesting because it feels so recent to me.
I remember running into you at the Hollywood Improv on the worst night I've ever had doing comedy in my entire life.
Why?
I'm glad you don't remember it. Let's not even bring it up.
It was just not a good.
It was the Ian Bagg
crowd?
show, when Ian used to do the Ian Bagg show, and I went on to a drunken spiral about making a joke about the first joke. I don't even going to say them because I guess I don't even know if you can make jokes like this anymore. The joke was, you ever run into the same stranger twice in a day? I ran into the same Asian lady 15 times today. Like, she was everywhere. She was at the grocery store. She did my nails. She did, and everyone just frowned at it. They were like, "Whoa!"
And this was 10 years ago.
This is probably 13 years. This is the night I
on
did
an Ian Bagg show.
This is the night it was a dead audience, and a big pocket of Asians in the corner that I did not acknowledge. And it was the night I did the Byron Allen.
The Comics Unleashed.
Yeah, Comics Unleashed.
Comedy in front of a fish tank.
Yeah, and I killed on that, and I was like feeling hot, and I'm like, here we go.
One of my favorite things ever. One time, this was way before Seth Meyers was on SNL at the time, but he was with Neil Brennan at Coffee Bean, and I ran into him before he was Seth Meyers, and we were talking about Byron Allen. For some reason in those days he came up all the time, and I'm weirdly obsessed with Byron Allen, and he said that they were almost going to do a sketch on SNL that was a parody of Comics Unleashed, where the Byron Allen character kept giving the comics the wrong setups, because that was the whole point. He'd give you your setup, but it was always so specific. He'd be like, so you just broke your leg skiing in the Alps, and then you do your joke. But if you gave that to anyone else, like, it's just such a ridiculous idea, but I just always thought that was...
to me was, so Bert, I heard you fought a black guy. And I went, yep. Here we go. That's the bit I'm telling.
Is that truly the setup?
Yeah, there's a set. I heard you fought a black guy. I did. He looked a lot like you. And then I just went on to my joke. Yeah, Byron Allen. What?
That's amazing.
So yeah, because I can't.
He's amazing. Honestly, just bought the Weather Channel.
Like, I can't ever imagine Chelsea Handler poor. I can't imagine, like...
I knew Chelsea when she was a waitress. It's... I mean, I guess she had a book deal at the time, but yeah, I can. It's crazy. So,
okay, poor... You start writing on the roast. You start writing
on the roast. I do the roast.
Whose roast did you do?
What's interesting? I was supposed to do the Larry the Cable Guy one, but then they said, never mind, actually. You can't do this one. I don't know why. So I thought I was going to get that one, then I didn't. Because I think it's important when people think I'm successful. Like, for every one good thing that happened to me, there were like 50 rejections. So I always feel the need to...
I think a lot of what people don't ever see is all the rejections that happen.
Oh, I had before. I sold Two Broke Girls and the NBC show. I mean, I had like 6 pilots that didn't go. That didn't even get ordered. Comedy Central, I had one for Comedy Central, which to this day I think is the best thing I've ever written. Not only did they not pick it up, they didn't even tell me they didn't pick it up. They didn't even call me to tell me. I was in Montreal and I ran into like Jim Jeffries, who was like, oh, I'm sorry about your show. And I was like, what? He's like, oh, well, they told me they're picking it up. And I'm like, well, they didn't tell me. Like, there's zero respect. Zero. So it's like there's so many things that did not.
By the way, that happened a lot back in the day, it seems like.
Yeah.
Where like you'd find out a show was canceled like 3 weeks after they had canceled it. And you're like, no one thought about just saying to me, hey. Yeah. I love your pre-production brain.
I can't help this. I'm worried this is going to be a sound issue. So
no.
You have to do it.
Here.
Okay.
Here.
I'm just do it. You can cut this out if you want to. Sorry. It's kind of... Okay, I think I got it.
Is that better?
Yes.
But so then writing on the roast, what roast did you do?
I did the first roast I did was Joan Rivers.
Yeah, which is a good fit.
That was which was crazy. I mean, this was back when you could say the most outrageous shit, and the roast was a place where you got to hear things that you would never hear and say things that no one's allowed to say. They're doing a roast soon, and I'm so interested to see how it's
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yep.
Yeah, I just had Nikki on the other day.
Yeah,
and Nikki's like, I'm fucking ready. Like, I'm ready. But I feel like in order
has she done one before?
I think she has.
Okay.
But I think that one of the things to do to stand out in a roast is you got to really bring the shit that no one expects to hear. That's right. And then you have to I mean, it also depends on where you are in the lineup. So if you're going third, you're in the sweet spot and you're fine. And now that Geraldo's not there anymore, they seem so weird to me because I did them back when Geraldo did them. And like the way that he warmed up the crowd and like broke everybody was like, the idea of doing it without him just feels so bizarre. I got to be honest with you. I looked at the lineup for the Bruce Willis joke roast, and I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Geraldo's on it?
No, yeah. I think Nikki's the only comic on it.
I did hear something about that. That's
it's just celebrities.
That's so interesting. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
3 names. A lot of 3-name actors. I mean, that goes a couple ways. I mean, like, I remember after doing the roast, speaking of getting your feelings hurt, like I used to just be in a ball. I mean, Lampanelli and I both just like crying,
really?
You know? Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, for me, I think it's tricky because would you rather be made fun of for things that are true or aren't true? You know, like I would get you're a whore, you suck dick to get ahead. Like if I had done that, maybe it would have hurt my feelings less, but that's like the one thing I worked so hard to make sure that I never dated comics.
You don't have it. I don't know one rumor about you.
But in the beginning, everybody kind of like made fun of me. And said,
it's just fucking.
I have to do this. It's like it's a mental.
Is that?
That's better. Okay.
Okay.
See, now I'm not moving. It's because it's all I'm thinking about. Now
we did Something's Burning together, and you have the same brain I have. Mine is less. Mine's a lot less because, but I am very cognizant walking into a production of how it's being shot, what we're doing shooting of it, and I'm a little bit of what you would call difficult to work with.
Really?
Yeah. But you would never see that. You would never see that. But I guarantee you, any director or producer who's ever worked with me.
I don't know why wanting something to be good means you're difficult to work. I'm just like, I don't want to have to come back and reshoot this. I'm not being difficult. This is going to be a sound problem.
Yeah. You know. So who was it? It was Geraldo.
It was Geraldo. It was Jeff Ross. It was all those guys. But like, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I loved doing them, but doing it now, I think I would be too scared, honestly. Like, you know, I would be, because everything was racist and sexist and cum on your face and whore and black stereotypes, Asians. I mean, that's what you did there.
Yeah, they were the most aggressive jokes you could ever hear.
That's right. So it's like, I'm curious if in today's climate where everyone has to walk on eggshells around everything and everything's a fucking lawsuit. I mean, Pam Anderson was going to sue me because I implied that she had AIDS, and you know that was back then.
Serious?
Yeah, I did a joke that was pretty rough. It was like,
I mean, I know the setup, kind of, and it sounds pretty aggressive.
It was like, it's not even a joke. It's actually one of the jokes.
It's just a statement. I think you have AIDS.
And Pam Anderson's here. Pretty sure she has AIDS. Anyway.
Tommy's laughing. He's got it. You know what I'm talking about, Kid Rock.
I love jokes like that are just set all punchline, no setup.
Yeah.
Actually, just subtext. But it was Pam. It's not even a joke, which is I think part of the reason I loved it. It just made me laugh. It was like, Pam, you've had sex with Tommy Lee, Kid Rock. Who's the other one? Tommy Lee, Kid Rock, and Bret Michaels. Yeah. Tommy Lee, Kid Rock, and Bret Michaels. Why don't you just save yourself some time and go drink a vat of Magic Johnson's blood? Like, it wasn't even a joke. Yeah. It was just like a suggestion.
Yeah. Pam.
Like a way for her to save time.
Oh. I got those are when the roast. So, and those are when the roast broke a career.
That's right. They were like what I feel like the Tonight Show used to be. Like,
I want to say you and Amy probably are the two predecessors of, like, I think you probably first and then Amy. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, do the roast and you get famous.
Right.
If you're a woman.
That's right.
If you're a man, it kind of fucking puts you in shackles for the rest of your life.
That is such a fascinating observation.
Yeah, because I mean, I look at all those guys that are good. I mean, I'm not saying that Jeff doesn't have a beautiful career.
Yeah,
but Jeff and Greg almost got put on there.
Yes. But you know what's interesting about Greg? And he said something that was really powerful. I remember one time on the red carpet, because every year we would make fun. I mean, Greg was one of my favorite comics. Like, he just killed me. So smart. And every year we'd hit him. You never do TV. You don't do any movies. You're a loser. This is all you ever do. And some, reporter was asking him about it. And he said something really profound and kind of poignant. He said, when did it become so embarrassing to just be a comedian for a living?
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking, it's the hardest thing. And you do the hardest thing. And everyone's like, why aren't you in movies? Why don't you have a TV show? He's like, I do the hardest thing.
I think that's why most of us, and when I say us, I mean like 40-year-old dudes who could be bitter. Yeah. All love Chappelle. That's why we all love Chappelle. Yeah. Because he put the stake the claim back in, hey, just be a comic.
I'm just a stand-up.
Be the funnest, funniest fucking guy. That's all you got to do. Rogan, same thing.
Yeah,
Rogan,
that's
same thing.
That's
now, here's a problem I will say, is that there's nothing wrong if we want to turn the AC on.
It's not. It's only that. And just so you know, my face is melting off. So I'm just trying to get the eyeliner off so it doesn't look like I'm crying at your monologue.
The thing is it's okay to have other aspirations in this business. And so like that's where I'm at now.
But you're not a failure if you're not in every movie that comes out.
By the way, I'm not saying this out loud. I'm not wishing this to be like, I don't really care to spend a month shooting a movie for no money.
We were just talking about it the other day of just like, if it's not going to move the needle in some way or be a blast, or you're going to work with somebody that you're dying to work with, like keep doing this.
I wrote a book and it's a good book.
Yeah.
And I think because that was the thing that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Is that you do this, you do the book comes out, next thing you know, ...
Yeah.
And book didn't do anything and didn't move the needle. People like it. People liked it a lot.
But we'll also have more lives. So I had a book come out last year. I had worked. How long did you write yours? 6 months? A year?
Yeah.
Literally a year. I mean, I had carpal tunnel. Like I had to go to a chiropractor. Like it was a nightmare how hard I worked on it. I'm doing all this press. I'm doing press for a month. And it came out the day of the Vegas shooting.
Wait, what was the name of your book?
I'm Fine and Other Lies.
Yeah, I saw it.
And it's like about struggles with addiction and eating disorders and codependency and all this sort of stuff that I thought was going to be really cool and groundbreaking. It comes out the day of the Vegas shooting. I can't do any press. I can't even post about it because it's just in bad taste. I feel
Hey guys! I realize there's 45 people that won't be buying this book. However, if you're one of the unshot.
Hey, country fans, need a laugh? There was no way. So it was just kind of like wah wah. So it's like this thing that I'd been building up to for a year, all of a sudden is just like this major bummer. Same thing with movies. You cannot promise that it's gonna,
what comes out that week, what pops that week.
You don't know what's on the news that week, what's going on. No one cares about anything except the news right now. That's it. If you don't
move the needle, that's like part of me goes, spend your time doing this shit. Like when I had a deal that was kind of falling apart when I was doing the weight loss challenge with Tom. And my managers and agents call my wife and they're like, hey, Bert needs to be focusing on this fucking deal because it's going to fall apart. They're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And she went to me and I was like, I don't really give a fuck about the project and I don't think anyone else will like it. Yeah. And I don't really care. And I go and I'm really interested in this.
And it was a TV show?
Yeah. And sitcom. And so I was like, fuck it. It wasn't happening. I didn't. And by the way, the people doing it with me were on the exact same page I was on.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't like the writers. Tony Hernandez.
Oh yeah, I love Tony.
I've developed with Tony fucking 3 times now.
Yeah.
But and every time we get to the place where we go, I don't know. Like Tony, and by the way, I've known Tony since we were children. Like
but
he's
let me
one of my
ask you a
best
question.
friends.
It's like if you're making a sitcom, you're having half an hour of content coming out once a week, either 13 weeks in a row or 24 weeks in a row if you hit the lottery. Yeah. What you do here is your fans get 2 hours of you unfiltered with no other ancillary characters they don't give a shit about, who are just sort of like, why would they choose that if they can get your authentic self here every week?
I think I'll tell you my thing. I have always been very, very honest with everyone in that I want to shoot, and it's not the right time, but I want to shoot a multicam
in blackface.
In blackface.
This is not the time, but I feel like the storm is going to pass.
I said to Ali Sadiq on a podcast one time, I go, remember when you could wear blackface and no one got upset? And he goes, no. And I go, and there was a time. There was a time in the 80s where like our cheerleading group.
In the 1880s?
No, in the 1980s. I swear to God, our cheerleading squad for our football team put on Sir Mix-a-Lot in blackface. I swear to God, there's a picture on fucking Facebook. I swear to God.
People were upset. There was just no comments back then. They were upset in their homes.
Oh, it was so. Anyway, but yeah, no, I want to do a multicam. I want to do a multicam only because I want to go to CBS Radford every day. I want to jog over there, ride my bike over there. I want to see everyone. I want to hang out. I want to get in the writer's room. I want to tell you about my weekend.
Awesome.
Here's an idea I have. All right, great.
You should.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing for you because there's an audience and you can improvise and you can be you and you can do your thing.
I think it's also a way to introduce me to new people.
Yes.
I think once again, move the needle. Do stand up. Do a special.
No.
And then have all these things.
But none of your fans want to see you disappear into a role.
No one cares. That's so fucking accurate.
No one gives a shit.
People want to see. I think it would be cool as a fan, right?
Yeah.
As a fan of other people. I think it would be cool if I made a sitcom where the things you heard about on this podcast, you then saw like a little, like people always say to me.
No, but that's a great episode. We dressed up in blackface in the 80s and it's framed in the thing and people come, like that's a great episode. That's a great A story for an episode.
So you do the roast, you feel the pop.
I think so. Yeah, and I got a special out of that. They gave me a deal.
A Netflix,
that was
Comedy
Central. I think it was doing 2 more roasts and an hour special. And this was after I did not get Live at Gotham, which was 140 comics or something. I drove out to Irvine and did 5 minutes like 10 times in a row, and they would not book me.
Wow.
And so then I was like, great. Like, they wanted to give me a half hour, and I was like, an hour. That's the only thing. So I that was the first time I felt like I had a modicum of leverage to say, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you guys rejected me before about something, and I remember, and mommy's not happy.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, and it made me realize in retrospect that loss, something that was like really embarrassing and I felt like was crushing to me, I use that as currency later to get something better. You know, so now when something bad happens or I have a loss, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna use this in a couple of years like that. So that was like a great lesson, because I think if you get too much too fast and stuff that you don't deserve, it's just gonna implode at some point. So I'm grateful for all those little failures, even though I really hurt at the time. And then I had written a pilot. I met Chris D'Elia at the store, and we were buddies, and he was kind of one of the only people that was like nice to me, and like we got along, and he's still Chris, you know, and he's like on his phone, and he's, you know, he was married at the time, you know, like, yeah. Wait, is that new? That's not a secret. It's not a secret? Okay.
I've never heard this.
You didn't know Chris was married?
No.
Really?
I'm being dead serious.
That's so funny.
That makes me like him so much more. I was just talking to someone about, they were saying something about Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
It was a girl. It was a really hot girl.
Yeah.
It was Nikki Glazer.
Uh-oh.
And she was saying something about Chris D'Elia, and I said, oh, the thing that would, she goes, I just think he's sexy. I don't know. There's just something about him. Like, and by the way, this might have been off camera. Was this on? Okay, it was on the podcast, yeah.
But
and
what's the difference at this point?
But I said one of the coolest things about Chris is, like, I watch videos of him and his brother and his dad fucking breaking balls, and I go, you'd love being in their family.
Oh, I mean, the best.
And then you find out stuff like he's been married.
His mom is, like, I'm obsessed with his mom. Like,
his dad makes pasta by hand, like makes homemade pasta.
I can't. It's too on the nose. It's too broad, what you would say in a sitcom writing room. Like, it would never happen in real life. Wait, we know each other.
No.
We've never met before?
No.
That's a lie.
I broke him.
Do I just know you? You're famous from his Instagram, maybe. But then I had written a pilot because I
definitely from I put Instagram stories. I put
that
my
you're
Instagram
on the
stories.
okay. I know you from the gram. Is what the kids say. But I actually, and I've actually never admitted this before. This is embarrassing. I would write spec pilots on my own during the days, and before I was going up, because I was going up at the Comedy Store at 1 a.m. So I'd spend all day. I would read pilots and then write down like what they did, like how the math of it, and then try to write my own pilots. So I wrote one it was called 2030 News, and it was about a news station set in the future, and like everything was underwater, and a reality star was the president, and it was like all this crazy, weirdly prescient shit, and like there were ads all over the screen. Like it's literally
9 kids were trapped in a cage.
Yeah, that's right, and they were in cages at the border and all that shit. So I had written that. Nobody even read it, and then do you remember when Dane Cook had a pilot called Cooked?
Yeah, I read for it.
I wrote a spec for that. Weirdly,
yeah.
I was 22. It hadn't even got picked up. Like I wasn't even smart enough to know that you don't write a spec for a show. And for those of you who don't know what a spec is, it's like an audition piece of writing where you write like an episode of 2.5 Men to give to How I Met Your Mother to try to get a job, right?
Yeah.
So I had written a spec for that. So I was like writing a bunch of shit. And then the third thing that I had read was, that I'd written was a story about a couple. And I just had Chris D'Elia in mind, and me and Chris sort of dating. And it was about this couple where the girl didn't want to get married because I was in this relationship for 4 years. And I was scared to get married, but I was scared to break up, and it was kind of about that. And I gave it to him to read. I was like, I wrote this pilot. I remember I printed it out with fucking that big staple on top, and I gave it to him at the Comedy Store on like a Tuesday, like 9 p.m. I was like, I wrote this pilot for us, and he was like, okay. And he never read it. And then like a year later, like casting called and was like, can you come in and audition for this?
So wait, so did you sell Two Broke Girls first or Whitney first?
I sold Whitney first. I actually had sold a talk show first, which is weird because that's
not weird because that seems like that would fit.
Really?
Yeah, because like was that the era when Greg Barrett was doing his talk show?
No. Oh, that's interesting. I think it was a little later. It was Chelsea was doing, because Chelsea produced this one. Chelsea was doing her show. Yeah. It must have been 7 years ago.
Really?
Was Greg's show on E?
No. He had a. Wait, yours was on E? No.
E,
You know what I'm thinking of?
Huh.
I walked into a room at E to sell a TV show, and they had just talked about your talk show.
Got it. And so I had sold it, but then I sold the sitcom, and because they were both the same company, Universal, they were like, let's do the talk show later.
Yeah.
Talk show, I maybe I'll do that again one day, but I think on E, I just like the pop culture, making fun of celebrities. I'm just not good at that because I'm never
good at that.
I feel weird slamming people that are more talented than me. Being like, Kate Blanchett's an asshole. It's like, she's amazing.
That's why I never did. I was never good at that VH1 show.
Best Week Ever?
Yeah, Best Week Ever.
I used to do those.
I remember they said something about someone. I was like, I actually really like him.
That's the thing. I'm like, I love Vin Diesel. He's amazing. I just can't slam.
I'm a huge fan.
And I also know how hard you have to work to get to that place. So then being like a little comic, like, I mean, at the time I was nobody. So to be like making fun of him just felt weird, you know? So I was never really good at that. And I kind of wanted to have like Malcolm Gladwell on and Michael Moore. And they were like, honey boo boo. Like, it's pretty much, you know, and like Kardashians. I don't even follow that shit.
So how do you get, because this has, I think, always been the hiccup. I heard Lil Rel Howery, on Mark Maron's podcast, and he was talking about his show and how he's the EP and he has to do the firing and the hiring and all this stuff. And I was like, you know, as many shows as I've ever had, it's hard to get. There's this thing that the industry does when you're talent is they keep you at arm's length. Yeah. And then like I remember my first deal. I said, I have a great idea for a cold open, and I remember the writers were like, hey man, we got this. And I was like, I know, but and they're like, you know, you're the talent, we're the writers. Yeah. And you were like, well, there can't be a crossover? Yeah.
Don't like treat me like the puppy who's not allowed in the living room.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it feels like.
I'm super, I wrote the stand-up that got this moving forward. Yeah. Where all my bits are in this. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I could also write for sitcom. Yes. How did you get to that? Because I'm sure there was that period when you sold Whitney where everyone was like, okay, so we're going to have Steve show run it because he's a man and he's 45 and he's just came off of Seinfeld. Yes. How did you hurdle that?
Well, it's interesting you say that because it's like, two things. I had written the pilot, you know, but I still had a showrunner come in. Of course, yeah. The showrunner did not have similar taste at all. Yeah. Which was really, really challenging. That happened to me twice, and it's like heartbreaking, you know. And you really are treated.
And you watch them, and it's almost like it's. I've been in it so many times where you go and you get to a point, and they go, actually, this. Your dad's like who we based it off of, but now it's on my dad because my dad does some funny stuff too. And you're like, hold on, you didn't sell the fucking show. Yeah. They brought you in after. Yeah. How dare you tell me my vision is now not what we're doing?
Yeah. It's tricky because a couple things. You do want somebody who is going to do the logistics. You do want someone who's dealing with the refabricating the couch. Like you don't want to take those calls. You want like a showrunner who is going to do all the logistical work so that you don't have to do anything. But at the same time, you want to have all the influence. So it gets into this tricky place where it's like, how do you empower people so that they're passionate about working there and they feel like they have their stamp on it, but they're also executing your vision. It's a very, very delicate balance.
Oh, wow. That is exactly what I've always been. Okay, that is
because you want writers that feel like their fingerprint is on it. You want that. You don't want them to feel like they're puppets and they're like, well, we can't do anything unless Bruce is in the room because then they feel disenfranchised. So it's like you want to empower them by saying like, what are your ideas? What are you know, and you write the script and you take over because you want. That's how you get the best staff. So it becomes this delicate balance of like making sure that your voice is in there and it's something you're proud of, but also detaching every now and then so that everybody has pride.
So how did you do that with Whitney? And how did you?
I didn't. Sorry. I've never taken this advice. I think it's very good advice, not something I am able to implement at all. But ideally, that's the scenario. No, Whitney, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was like, this is going to be the freshest, most original, outrageous. And then everyone's like, it's 5:00. Can we go home? I mean, it was news to me that writers on staff, that it's like a job to them. Yeah. Like it was news to me that everybody wasn't there to like make, you know, and there were some incredible writers on the show. And I'm like still friends with so many of them. But it was like, I think there is also this, at the time that I made it, there was this little eye roll around sitcom. This was when The Office was coming out. Yeah. The Office, I think, had already been out for a year. Parks and Rec came the next year. Like single cam was like all the rage. Like Girls came out the same year. The Zooey Deschanel show. So I think there was this like shame around being on a multicam where people were like, it's just a multicam. Why try? Like they're corny and they're hokey. And I think there was just that like, oh, this joke is good enough. And I'm like, no, let's beat this joke. I think we can make it better. And they're like, it's a multicam. Like I think there's that attitude. Yeah. I think that's changing a little bit, like as we learn that like multicams are the most watched shows, whether you like it or not, and there are ways to make them really good and sophisticated and smart, which is a big part of why I wanted to work on Roseanne. Rest in peace. But
by the way, I wasn't even going to bring that up at all.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I had this so funny. I'm touring and people come up to me after the show and they're like, why did Roseanne get canceled? I'm like, oh well, she actually said something incredibly racist. They're like, so.
Yeah.
Like nobody outside of Hollywood cares.
By the way, they could have not canceled that and no one would have noticed. She said she's done so much worse.
Like literally,
in my opinion.
It was so crazy to me that like, but audience are like, yes, she said something racist, but that's Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
We like the show.
Yeah.
Like don't take away our show that we like so much. So like
kind of crazy.
I've been dealing with that sort of paradigm shift, but you know, it's really tricky. I think, you know, Eric Zicklin is this writer that was on Frasier who I worked with on the NBC show, and he's amazing. And he said something really poignant to me one day. He said, because I'm a stand-up comic. I'm in the clubs every night. You know me, and we're fucking around. And then all of a sudden you're in an office and like people are asking you like, you know, how much money do you need for this episode? And do we need this? And like all these jobs that you don't even know what half these people do, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, and now I'm having like a mental breakdown. And because then you have to fire people, and we're comics. Like I'm wired to make people like me. I don't want anyone. I don't like conflict with people at all. I want to make you laugh, right? And I hired a bunch of my friends that are comics, and I don't want to fire my friend. It was just really sticky. And he said that giving a comedian a sitcom, it's like saying, hey, you're really good at stand-up. Now go run a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
That's kind of the skill set of it, because it's all logistics and math, you know? So you do want someone that's going to do that stuff so you can be free to just be the artist.
Yeah.
But it's a really delicate balance, and you don't want to be the monster either. You don't want to be the person everybody's scared of when you come in the room. Bert's here. Oh, he's going to erase everything we did. He's not going to like anything we did. You know, so I think sometimes it's about just going like, you know what, if the writers love this idea so much, let's just do it and we'll do my thing the next time.
I'm not good at that.
One for me, one for you. It just depends on the kind of staff you want. But you can also do, you know, the Louis route without showing your dick to anyone, and just do everything you want and do it all on your own.
That's what I want to do.
You know?
So then in doing Whitney, how soon into that did you sell Two Broke Girls?
That was actually the same year. Michael Patrick King, who did Sex and the City and The Comeback, he wanted to write a show with a partner, and he met with a bunch of people, and I met with him. We ended up,
already have a sitcom at this time.
It was sold, but it wasn't picked up to series. It was picked up to pilot.
Oh, okay.
And I never, and I'm not being fake humble.
Nope. I know what you're saying.
I never thought a show with two unknown comedians would go to series.
I think all of us were pleasantly surprised at holy shit.
Stunned.
But you're right. That never happened.
And here's what I'll say, like, I think that's also part of why it went, because Chris and I were just fucking around. We were like, this is never gonna go, and we had so much fun, and we were improvising.
I have to say, and I think that I have this ability. I've written now 4, personally, just by myself, 4 pilots.
Oh, cool.
And so, I don't know.
I mean,
but everything I do, and I think this is where I'm at now. The thing we'll talk about after this.
Yeah.
But where I'm at now is I'm really good at writing for other people.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time writing for myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I find myself funny in that way. And one of the things that I said when I first saw the pilot of Whitney, and I knew Chris, but I know him, like I knew him. I was like, motherfucker, she really gave him a fucking role. I was like, because I knew you'd written it, and I was like, he is cruising through this episode. Like, it is all his strong suits.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm like, I remember going,
yep.
I remember thinking he's going to be an action star within a year.
That's so funny.
Like Whitney was probably the best, in my opinion. I know it's his first thing he did, probably.
Yeah.
That's the best work he's ever done.
Yeah.
And it was because I think you and him were so close, and you did look at him like a muse. Like you knew what was funny about him in a way that no one could have ever predicted.
And I also see him in a very specific way and I wanted him to be loving and vulnerable and super in love with the Whitney character, not the person. And I think that works really well on him. I think that there's this trend where, I'm not saying it's women that do this or men that do this. I'm sure everybody's guilty, where guys have to be dicks and like stupid. My thing is never write a character who's stupid. Like, because there's this thing of like, stupid's funny. It's not that funny, and it's not interesting, and it's not sustainable. Like, always play to the top of your intelligence. So it was really like helpful. And I also think, just in terms of like doing a sitcom, like I think sometimes, maybe nobody in this room, but comics get competitive. I don't want anyone funnier than me around me. I have to be the funniest person.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe that. I'm not that way. I'm probably, I don't know. I probably have to be that way if I'm saying it out loud. But I notice it. I notice it with people sometimes that I go, Oh, so you're top dogging everyone right now.
Got it. But for free, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, to just be like, okay, he's funnier than me. Got it. Okay. He thinks he's okay. I'm going to come around with a banger. You just wait till the conversation gets over here.
Yeah.
You know, like there is that comic thing, or you're going on behind somebody and you're like, okay, he just killed, so I'm going to have to crush, and so-and-so's in the room. Like there's all that competitive shit with comics. We all have it. But when it comes to casting a TV show, hiring people that make you laugh and that you think are funnier than you is the fucking key. Seinfeld's the king of that, you know? And because it also makes everybody better. It makes your days shorter because you're sitting there writing and you're like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and you're just like, what should Chris say when he walks in? And you're like, throw him the ball. Just he'll improvise. He'll do something great. It makes your life better and easier.
So then, so Whitney gets picked up for pilot, and then Two Broke Girls.
And then Two Broke Girls gets picked up the same season. Yeah.
Same season. Both shows get picked up.
Both shows get picked up.
And like, what was your, like, you know, I know you know Barry very well, but like, what was your Barry Katz, like your shit moment?
We were not together at that point.
Oh, that's right. I think he probably went after you.
Yeah, I think he was trying to sue me at that point. I think.
Even when I try to compliment you, Barry, you do it to yourself. I hear when they talk shit about me, Papa. Well, stop fucking suing people.
It's really shocking. Actually, I should be doing his podcast. I don't know what I'm doing here.
He's no, but like, what was that like? Oh shit! Moment where you're sitting there. Like I remember my first. I had a development deal, and then it went nowhere. And I come out to LA. I've been doing stand up a year and 6 months, and I do an ICM showcase. And writers chase me out of the room at the Laugh Factory. They shuffle me out the back hallway, the alley. I get into the alley, and I get put in a car, and I drive off, and I am. Confused, and I had the set of my lifetime. Wow. And literally not even joking, writers were climbing over each other to get to me, like going, Bert, I have a script I want you to look at. And I get in the car, and my buddy Miles Mosley calls me, and he goes, hey buddy, what's going on? He's in Atlanta. I go, I think my life just changed forever. I remember being at that gas station on Crescent Heights and
I knew you were going to say that,
and going, I think my life just changed forever. And I was like,
this is...
What was that moment where you're like, 2 shows on air?
I think the moment actually was maybe not a positive one. Like I definitely, like when they called me and it was picked up, what happens is when you get a show picked up, it's so stressful. There's no way to enjoy it because you're fighting so hard for writers during pilot season. So you have to meet with writers before you get picked up. And you're auditioning writers and you're trying to make them want to pick you. So there's only a certain amount of writers. So I was so like, we got to call the writers. We got to get this person. I was so consumed with fear that the show wouldn't be good that I couldn't really enjoy it very much. Yeah. I think when I first saw like billboards, that's when I was like, oh, this is like happening. And then it was like, oh no, because they were kind of, you know, famously a little hokey, if I'm going to put it gently. And I'm going to just not be negative about that experience anymore. There's no point. But
but you can. I mean, like, I'm going through it with my Netflix special right now.
Yeah.
They sent me a billboard option, and I was like, are we sure?
It's and look.
And then you're like, I don't want to like look and give, like they're like, we really love it.
I know, and you're like, and here's, I mean, I have acquiesced to that so many times that I am now at the point where I hire my own person to just design it. Yeah. Because I have done that. Like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but what about this direction? And then I waste everybody's time, and it's just here. Let me just add a pocket, send you this JPEG. This is the billboard. But I think that also, I was working so much during that time, I didn't understand that there was like negativity around it. And I remember going to a party, like an Upfronts party or something. And I guess some like reviews had come out, or people had been like trolling me online. And I was just like working on a sitcom with my friend, and it was like the best time of my life. And I made it. And I went to this party, and everyone was like, how you doing? And I was like, I'm great. What do you mean? And they're like, oh, don't worry. They're just jealous.
Wait, who was
just
what were they?
Everybody that came up to me was like, look, this happened to Seinfeld too. Everyone hated his show when it first came on. And I was like, what's it? what's going on? What do you mean? Like I hadn't Googled myself. I hadn't read anything. I hadn't seen anything. Like I just had my head down. And so I think that's the first time I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like people know about this because, you know, when you're a comic, it's so like you kill at the Comedy Store and like everyone that was there knows about it. But now
was Whitney not an immediate success?
It was a success. There was just because it was a multicam, which if you guys don't know, that's like Friends and Seinfeld. Like
it's where there you see 4 sets.
That's
technically
right.
every week, same 4 sets.
Big Bang Theory. And what I think really, and this is my mistake, and I just didn't know any better. I was fucking 27. That the microphones and the audience, you can't have too many, or else it's going to sound so loud, and you have to take microphones out because otherwise people think it's a laugh track. So people kept going, "This show has a laugh track. It has a laugh track." That was their big complaint about it, and I was like, "No, there's people here. We invited journalists to come watch, whereas How I Met Your Mother actually has a laugh track, but nobody was mad at them about it. It was just like too loud." And I think because I'm a comic, and this was my mistake, and this is if we talk after, what I would say is like, I wanted it to be so funny, and I want jokes. That's what we do. But the more jokes you put in a sitcom, the more you hear the laugh from the audience. So it's like, ha. So every line was a joke, and Chris ended up being 10 times funnier than anyone ever would have imagined. I had this girl, Ray Seahorn, on the show who's now on Better Call Saul. And Zoe Lister-Jones, like I cast such funny people that every line turned into a joke. So that was my mistake. The pilot did have, I mean, I think that, you know, the criticism of it was there was too much laugh track. There was too many laughs, but that's because I put in too many jokes, you know.
That would make sense. That's your personality of like, this is my project.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it the best I'm going to make it. Everything's going to be fucking funny.
Yeah.
As opposed to some hindsight of like, all right, hold on. All right, let's let it breathe.
Yes.
Let's roll the dice and go, they'll get that laughs are coming.
Yes.
I can see that completely.
And look, and some of the best shows, I Love Lucy, and part of the reason I wanted to work on Roseanne was like to really learn how to just like let it breathe for a page and let the drama happen. But I was just, as a 27-year-old comic, it was like just jokes everywhere.
No, at the same time, Whitney is coming out, Two Broke Girls is coming out, and I can't remember. I thought everyone loved that show.
Two Broke Girls?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it did okay. It did well.
It lasted for like 7 seasons, right?
Yeah, I think 6, yeah.
Yeah, like... Yeah. I remember thinking
everything's
both of them
got
were
its
hits.
Nothing can happen anymore without some kind of backlash, and maybe nobody notices, but I know that there was a little bit like, you know, some showrunner from, I don't remember, some other, I think it was 2.5 Men. It wasn't Chuck Lorre. It was somewhat like a writer. Someone said like there's too many vagina jokes in it or something. And it was like there was that sort of thing, but it's like, well,
can we get Me Too'd now?
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, on 2.5 Men, it was like herpes jokes.
Yeah.
And then ours, I mean, so anyway, so there's always going to be some kind of noise about something. And I think as comics, like we're so wired to only focus on the person in the audience who's not laughing. You can be performing for 1,000 people. If the guy in the front row is not laughing, that's all I can think about, you know? So it's like you're a heckler. So it's like when there's one bad review, that's the only thing.
I don't read any reviews ever.
Smart.
I'll never read a review.
Do you read your Twitter at replies?
Nope.
Never?
I'll thumb them. I'll thumb them and like, yep. Anything negative, I'm also dyslexic, so I don't read very well. We've come to realize that Isla's dyslexic, like really bad.
Yeah. And
we didn't realize that it's hereditary.
Wow, yeah, you don't realize it until.
And I was like, oh, I'm very dyslexic, and I've always misread things, and now I dyslexia flip through the Twitter and I go, oh yeah. But I also put on that filter where I don't read the bad shit.
There's a filter.
There's a filter which says anything negative we'll just keep away from you.
They go through it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that extra?
I very seldomly get anything bad on.
Maybe you just don't get negative. I don't get so many anymore. You know.
Well, you're a woman. There are men that make it their mission.
Yeah.
To try to put you down.
Yeah.
That is, there are men. Like I listened to the Nanette. There are men, sadly, and by the way, I was really defensive of her. I thought the special was interesting.
Yes. And
it was it wasn't comedy per se. It was more like a TED Talk.
Yes.
But I did not listen to it close enough.
But it's also like, why she's literally in the special, she talks about how people have called her faggot. Like she's been attacked. Like
here's what's amazing to me is the same guys who would take time to attack her and be a attacker are the same people that are like, oh, if you don't like a joke where someone says faggot, you don't have to listen to it. Turn it off. Turn it off. And you're like, hold on 1 second. Just turn it off in the net. Like,
here's what I'll say.
That clearly wasn't meant for you.
It's a beautiful special. Like, it's not. I mean,
okay, I only have one issue with this special that I have. Because I watched it and I was like, I was kind of in and out. Like, I was like, it's interesting. You know, we're hearing her message. Yeah. Yeah, it's not funny. Like, it's not like you don't laugh out loud. Yeah, right. More than maybe twice. Yeah. But I didn't realize that her whole point was to say that comedy should not be an art form. That no one should do comedy. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I kind of lost on me because I was like, I was in and out. I was cleaning a hotel room, and I'm listening. And I was like, I always like a different message. I always like something new. And then I didn't realize that she was like, I guess this is why. I guess because Legion of Skanks did a review on it, and I would not listen to that if I were you. But they apparently she put out a tweet saying, anyone who just tries to do comedy is I'll find the exact tweet. It's like it's a waste of time. Comedy their laughter is not the best medicine. It's no medicine. And it was just anti-comedy, or I guess is her tweet. I'm paraphrasing horrifically. Yeah, I haven't seen that. And that's what I hold issue with, because I'm like, no, I did a special where I didn't try to break any boundaries on race or sexuality or cisgenderism. Yeah. I did a special that is just about me, my life, my family, and it's really funny, and it's just jokes. It's just jokes. There's no like, I don't want you to cry at my special.
I mean, look, and I think that it's like, I think that what's happening is this sort of like didactic, like everyone wants to decide how everyone else should live, you know? And I think because we have so little control about what's happening politically right now that we're just like, I need to control what you eat and what you say and every guy has to go. I mean, I think it's this mentality where everybody has to behave the same. And I think what's so great about our culture and humanity in general is we all can do different things. You stay in your lane, I'll do my thing, you do your thing. Like
I can respect Hannah Gadsby. I can respect her. Yeah. And I can respect what she does. Yeah. As soon as she stops respecting the fact that I'm just a comedian, then I start going, well, then, okay, then I think our conversation's over.
Right.
Like if you can't realize that, hey, I just will make jokes.
There's no discourse here.
That's my only goal. I wasn't born into this world with a bigger message. My message is I like to have a good time. Yeah. And I like that if you're having a shit day and you come to my show, that for an hour and 15 minutes you'll forget about it, right? Have a few drinks, right? Especially now when all you have to think about is the news. It's like I mean I go to, when I do sets now, well, before I do like an hour, I say like, okay, you guys, we're not going to talk about politics, is that okay? And everyone's like, like everyone they lose their minds. Yeah. And I think that's also a very American thing. I think part of what is happening, she's Australian, and she's like, and they're like outraged by Trump. Right. And they want to share that with each other. Maybe, I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't know. I just look at it where I go, the second, like, you can't, she'll never have, like, I'm very lucky in that I don't ever claim to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm a very intelligent man. I make a good living. I'm very lucky. But I'm also like a very regular dude, and I can go to a comedy show and laugh, and then the next day lay in bed and think of that guy's punchline and laugh again.
And look, it's like, by the same logic, it's like, so comics can't do TED Talks, so comics can't get doctorate degrees and be teachers. Like, it's like, I just think to limit anybody from doing anything is...
And so, and by the way, I'm paraphrasing based on what Big J said about his interpretation of her tweet. And I'm sure Big J doesn't have the most even-keeled... But the net thing kind of like, because I was supportive of it, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, maybe I didn't listen to it.
I know I want to weigh in more, but I just don't know enough about it. And I thought,
see if you can pull up that tweet she sent.
I thought it was wonderful.
My thing is,
I can also ignore something someone says and move on with my life.
I can definitely not be offended by her.
And like, I don't have to, like, we are in this like thing where there's such an outrage about everything. And like, I can just be like, oh, he said something that's kind of offensive, but like, let's move on. Let's talk about something else. Like, I don't need to get into that adrenaline addiction outrage cycle that we're all that sanctimonious. Cause I think right now there's like so much self-righteousness around everything.
Self-righteousness feels so good.
It feels so good. Afterwards though, to me, there's an aftermath of like shame around it, of like, oh, I just spent an hour hating on somebody who's kind of just doing the best they can. Like,
if you know what feels better than self-righteousness?
What? Heroin?
Someone saying to you like an hour later, hey, whatever happened to the thing? You go, oh, I forgot about it. And you're like, oh, I forgot that I was outraged an hour ago.
I was so pissed off
I
about.
can't believe that went away.
But I think that it's also comics in particular. I think Neil Brennan is who said this, or maybe it was Chris Rock or something. I'm plagiarizing it or quoting the wrong person, but it was just that like the common denominator in all comedians is we have a obsession with justice. Like that's our thing, right? That's the thing. I have to tell you the story so you understand what happened to me, and you need to know that this is wrong, and here's why. And yogurt shouldn't be in a Go-Gurt; it should be in a thing. Like I mean, even Gary Goldman. Like I used to watch him do a half hour on sugar cookies. And you're just like, why does this matter to you so much? Hilarious, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
hilarious.
And you're kind of like, because there's an injustice around this cookie that you guys need to know, And it's so fascinating. It's like, whether you're talking about politics or sugar cookie, the common denominator is justice. So I think that what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling also is the idea of when someone says like, no, it's like, no, that's not just. And we all need, because we're the justice warriors. Like we're the ones that, the truth tellers, we're the ones that have the balls to point out things that no one else has the balls to. Like we're the ones that are awake, right?
Oh, I'm obsessed right now with
like we're the wolves, not the sheep.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with my wife and her friends, and Michelle Wolf just did a video of it today about abortion. But my wife and her friends were all talking about pro-choice and whatnot. And, and I love the part I love is I got no dog in the fight. Like I literally sit back and they're like just talking about I don't know whatever it was, and I was just like, yeah, but it is murder. And they were like, what? I go, yeah, like you're I mean, like, I go, it's not murder. And they're like, what?
Were you I can't tell. Were you joking?
I was totally joking. Part of me is joking, but the other part of me is like, this is an argument that people have, and they're like,
not. I mean, that's the truth.
It's not murder.
You think a cell? If it's just a cell?
Look. Here's my point.
You're murdering a cell.
Here's my point.
You're murdering a zygote.
It's like you can argue that it's not, but you could argue that it is.
But sometimes murder is good.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what I'll argue.
But that's what I said. I said no. I agree with you guys. I go, I'm not. I'd even go as far as say I'm pro-abortion.
Also, like a little murder now is going to save a life that's going to suck further.
And if you can wrap your head around it and go, I'm cool with it, then I'm cool with it too.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I have actually no problem with abortion.
Yeah.
To the point where I was actually thinking, I bet I could. I don't mind helping women who need abortions. Like I don't mind. Like it's like $1,000 for me. I could pop off like 4 abortions, and then help women.
What clinic is that?
I don't know. Michelle Wolf today said it costs $300 to do an abortion.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Costco.
I don't mind. Like if a woman's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
And this baby's gonna have a rough fucking life.
And so is she. So's the woman.
Yeah. Part of me was like, and then I was like, I also.
Do we need more children? Do you want more people on planes and airports?
I'll tell you what, I don't. But then I thought
that's the irony. It's like you guys don't want us to have abortions, but you hate liberals. Don't you want less liberals?
Yeah. My other part was like, and then this is where my wife was like, you are out of your fucking mind.
Uh-oh.
I go, how about this? I go, because I am not, like, I'm for abortion if that's what the woman wants.
Yeah.
But I'm even more for like a child getting an opportunity in life. Like if you took kids who should be aborted, right? And you go, what if you set up a program where a woman gets pregnant, she registers for the program, and they go, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you set up. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna finish your GED. We're gonna get you started in college.
Yeah.
In this next 9 months, you're gonna eat healthy, and you're gonna be out in Arizona.
Pay for all that?
This is me.
You're
setting
paying
up
for
this
this?
organization. I'm setting up this organization, and I go, and we're gonna set you up. We're also gonna get this child adopted by a gay couple who will provide an amazing life for this child. And want this. They want this.
Yes.
And we are gonna get you on your feet and them on their feet.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get rid of abortion that way.
Yeah.
You fucked up. You got pregnant. We've been there.
But
We've been there.
about the father?
What? Oh, the fucking. I don't give 2 shits about
but
men
here's
right
what
now.
I'll say. How about this? But how about instead? Why don't you just give me $100 a month so I can just go on the pill?
Oh, I'm cool with that.
So that we don't even have to have this issue.
$100 a month.
That's what nobody will talk about. Is that with insurance? When I'm on an IUD now, which was $600. So it is prohibitively expensive. So people really have no choice. Women really have no choice except to try pulling out and condoms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Condoms are a fucking fortune. That's another scam.
Did you know that this is what's insane to me? I was like, of course, I'm trying to work it as a bit at dinner with these women. And I start thinking, I start trying to reverse engineer it in that the support of abortion is basically to try to kill that black kids, I was thinking black people don't get abortions. That's what I was thinking, right? Just hear me out.
Okay, yeah.
In my head, I was like, I'm thinking black people and Mexicans don't get abortions because of religious reasons. They're probably less apt to get than white women. And I go, this is reverse racism. They just want to kill black babies. And then I did the math. First of all, astronomical. White women are the least amount of abortions.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I didn't know that.
Now, what's happened for recently is that abortions in Latino and black culture or with black women have dropped drastically. But I think that's because they made it harder to get abortions. Yeah. And so I really there was no argument point to this. I just was shocked that I was like, well, yeah, there goes that fucking bit. But
I mean, you can still do a bit out of exploring it and how you were wrong. You know, you can still probably do that. But I mean,
I thought, no joke, I thought, is that what you want to do with your 15 minutes on stage, Bert? Do you really want to preach about something you know nothing about? That you just basically looked online, looked at a stat, and you're going to go behind some stat? Yeah. By the way, I am being dead serious. If a couple wants to keep the baby, I support that decision. And if a woman feels like by the way, I say a couple, or a woman wants to keep a baby or get rid of a baby, those are all their decisions. Yeah. Those are not, I shouldn't have a say in that. That's my feelings.
And I also think it's important to, and acknowledge, I don't want to bring up the president or anything, but having an abortion is not fun for a woman. Yeah, I don't think, idea that women need to be punished, it's a nightmare. I wrote about it in my book, my experience with it.
Did you get an abortion?
It's really,
Shut up. No. Wait. Whoa.
You have to read about it in the book. I don't really talk about it because it's hard to talk about.
Is it?
But it's in the book. You can read it. You can read it live if you want to. But I try not to just talk about it too much because I don't want to seem like I'm representing every woman's experience and that whatever. But I was a child. I was a kid.
For real?
I was 15. And it was something that I didn't know what to do, and it was this whole nightmare, and just don't worry. We feel terrible about it.
That's what the whole
we
question
live with horror. Was that Michelle Wolf saying?
Michelle Wolf was saying we need to get rid of the stigma behind abortion. Yeah. And I was like, I think that's going to be tough to get rid of. Yeah. Because that is self-imposed. Yeah. That's crazy.
What is self-imposed? The guilt and the shame?
The stigma is I think a lot of people, it'd be really tough for, it's like, what was the thing? Oh fuck! I'm trying to think of the thing that just the other day someone was like, mental health. Yeah, mental health. Someone's like, my wife's trying to get someone on her podcast to talk about mental health, about depression, and none of her friends would do it. And I was like, there's still a stigma behind mental health. Yes, sir. To say people I have depression.
Well, here's also, I think there's a couple of reasons why. Because when you say I have depression, people are like, nah, you're tired. You're a lot of people just don't know how neurology works. Yeah. And I think that depression is so vague, and I think that. And we're all guilty of doing this, is that we have desensitized the word and taken the value out of it because we're like, I'm depressed. I couldn't get my smoothie. I'm a psych. I'm having a manic break. We throw these words around. You're so schizophrenic. We throw them around in conversation. So when someone actually says, I have
Stop being a narcissist.
That's right. You're a psycho. You're a sociopath. Yeah. So when someone actually is it, you kind of don't take them seriously. Because I think another thing with that.
Well, that's fucking fascinating.
But I don't
Whitney.
think that's self-imposed. That's
the stigma.
Yeah.
I think Fast Times at Ridgemont High. People see that. My buddy was a part of 6 abortions.
Jeez.
It's a lot.
That's aggressive. That is.
At one point, he had more abortions than I had sex with women.
Who is this monster?
Talk to Tony about him. He was Tony, my best friend.
This guy is a busy man, obviously unemployed.
There's no stigma with him.
Who has that kind of time? Well, no, it's really more I think
we were in a car one time and someone was like, we were talking about abortions, and he was like, I've been a part of 6 of them. And we were like, what?
Been a part?
Meaning he had
I know, but that's such a weird phrasing.
And then I was like, I've only had sex with, at the time, I think it was 4 women. Yeah. And he goes, I've had 2 more abortions than you've had sex with
actual humans. I think it's also everyone's got their own thing around it, their religious thing around it. I went to Catholic school. I also was a mistake. My mom didn't want me, and I know that.
I can't believe. Wait, did you grow up poor?
I grew up, it was interesting. I grew up thinking I had a lot of money, but then I went to a neighbor's house. It was kind of that deal because we grew up in a very fancy place. We were in Georgetown in DC. So I just assumed we had all this money, but we were getting evicted and moving from one house to another and the cars would disappear. So it was like, there was a facade that we had money, but we didn't actually. And, that's as much as I'll say about that. But I thought that we had money, but
there's so many
didn't.
parts of you that's a secret, like not a secret, but like that you keep private. It's so interesting because I've heard you say things on Rogan, and I've seen things on your Instagram that lead into something interesting, and I always go, I got to do more of that.
Really? I feel like I share way too much, and it fucks me.
You don't
constantly.
share way too much,
and
you share stuff that I think. You share stuff that I think are positive that men don't hear. Like I remember one time you said something on Rogan about you were dating a guy and you were embarrassed to show him how nice of a car you had.
Yeah.
And you're like that's a fucked up feeling. There are so many guys that are like that probably think of that one or two ways. Yeah. But I sat in the car and I went, oh, really? Like
because I didn't want to be emasculating or seem like the alpha.
You wanted to walk into this relationship even.
I used to park my car 2 blocks away. I would walk to his apartment, and then when I left, I'd call an Uber to take me 2 blocks back to my car, and then I would drive home.
What was it like?
For like 8 months.
What was it like getting money for the first time?
You know, it's interesting. I was talking to another comic about this the other day because I think maybe the universe does this thing to keep you humble or to keep things in perspective. Because as soon as I started making money, I had to put a family member in rehab and my mom had a stroke with no health insurance. So all of the money just went away. Like I was making money, but I didn't get to keep any of it for quite a while. So... and maybe that's good because me with money might be too dangerous. Like, and I'm trying to think. I also didn't know about money, how money worked, because I grew up with a very shady sense of it. I thought we had a lot, but we didn't. All that. I had actually saved a good amount of money from doing stand up, and I was doing like online webisode stuff, and all I wanted was a house. That's all I ever wanted. I grew up like moving around from place to place. I was living in an apartment in Hollywood behind the Comedy Store where a DJ was above me, some Israeli arms dealer was next to me, and I could never sleep, and that's all I ever wanted. So I was with a guy at the time where I was like, all I want is a house, and you know, if you want a house that's $800,000, I thought you needed $800,000.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I really want this house. Like, I just need another 300 grand to get it. And he's like, well, how much do you have? And I told him, and he was like, you can buy a house. Like, I had no idea. I was like, oh, really? Like, I had saved so much money, but I thought to get $1 million house, you need $1 million cash, you know? So I was like, cool. Like, even when I had it, I didn't know I had it because I really didn't even know how it worked.
Are you in the same house that you first bought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are so much like my wife.
Really?
My wife was the same way when we got I was doing travel. I was doing comedy, doing Travel Channel a little bit, and my wife's like, we need a house. I need a house. I can't. Yeah. I need to be in a house.
If you're gone all the time, I need a safe, secure place.
And we bought this house, and I don't think we will ever leave this house. She loves this house.
I'm really big on if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know how complicated it is to fucking move? I don't like change, and I don't do well with change. And I also I don't ever want to have to work for money because I don't ever want to. That came out wrong. I don't ever want to have to take a job because I need money. That is to me the definition of success. When I can go, you know what? I'm not going to do that gig. I'm going to say no to going to Alaska for, this for 24 hours because I need it.
Women are so much better at that than men.
Really?
Women comics. Let me rephrase that. Women comics are so much better at turning down work than men.
Really?
Yeah, because all of you guys, I say all of you guys, but there are a lot of times I've heard women say like, I'm not fucking going there. Like,
oh, interesting. Because you don't have to go alone.
And the other sketchy, shitty gigs that I've taken where I go, oh yeah, like when you get there and they pick you up at the airport and you don't know where you're sleeping, and then all of a sudden you're on the fucking
you're
manager's
in like
couch.
a Jeep Cherokee with like 4 frat guys like drinking Coronas. Like I've had guys pick me up from the airport like that shit. Like shit faced. And I'm just like, you have to drive 100 miles to the college or whatever. But I think for me, it's more like I don't ever want to leave, my animals and stuff to go do a gig just because I'm like broke.
Yeah, I don't either, but what I do is I just work nonstop to make sure that I'm never broke.
Yeah, I do that too.
I can imagine you working. You don't do that on the road, but I imagine you in LA working nonstop.
I used to do 80 cities a year. I used to open for Craig Shoemaker and Steve Byrne and Bobby Lee every weekend.
I remember you worked open for Craig Shoemaker. Yeah. I remember that.
That's so
Craig
funny.
Shoemaker and I got into a fight.
I mean, ditto. I feel like yours probably went a little better.
No, we were doing by the way, I'm not shitting on Craig Shoemaker at all, but we were doing this thing. Barry had a project. Guy walks into a bar was the premise.
Yeah. So I remember that. I was there.
Yeah, and we were.
I remember this.
You had, and so the premise is you'd walk into the bar.
Yeah.
And you'd do the joke. Guy walks into the bar, says, and then my line would be like, you know how to make a shoe smell or something, whatever. I don't forget what the thing is. And so we're sitting there, and Craig Shoemaker. By the way, it sounds like I'm maybe shit on two people right now, and I'm not.
I just have to make sure that I'm just moving something.
What's that?
I'm just moving something as you're telling the story. I literally just have to move a phone call. Don't ignore me.
What time do you have to get out of here?
We'll be fine.
You sure?
Yes.
Who's your phone call with? Important?
It's not that important. I'm directing a commercial.
For real?
Yeah. It's like a little short films and stuff. So it's just like
That's really fucking awesome.
It's like thank you.
I have to say it if I haven't said it once. You're an amazing person. Like, you're someone that I think you should do a podcast just for comics about how to fucking fix. I bet you could go. Do you remember I told you this one time? And I don't know if you took it as a compliment or not, but I was like, do you realize in the 1950s you would have had an amazingly successful husband? Like, your husband would be fucking king of industry. You could have married a guy and turned him into a fucking Roosevelt.
I'm not bad at that.
Like
homeless guy, Rockefeller.
Yeah, but sadly, you live in a world where you get to do it by yourself now. Can you imagine?
It's like, this is what annoys me so much about like people who like, and it sometimes happens when I do Rogan's show. Like, people are like, you fucking feminism. Blah. I'm like, you know how expensive it is to be a fucking feminist? It is a nightmare. Like, I would give anything for a guy to fucking split the bill at this point. But I'm dating a guy who's solvent finally. But
who is he?
I've
seen him on Instagram a lot.
Have you?
Yeah, of course.
You guys
went to the Maldives together.
Yeah, we did.
Is that where it was?
Yeah.
And by the way, I was like, I've got to go there.
You've got to go there. You do, because it's also sinking. So you do have to go. It's going to be gone in 30 years.
Yeah, it looks so awesome.
It's unbelievable. It's so hard for us to take a vacation, I feel like. So I just wanted to go to a place that was on the other side of the world. So that
is he an actor, model, or DJ?
Neither. How dare you? He works at Vice. He's just awesome. He's a creative director. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's cool. Yeah. I met him on the internet. Whatever.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think dating actors and comics, like, that's just never something that went great for me.
You never dated any comics?
I actually never dated a comic. That's actually true.
Yeah. I think, is that your call?
No, that's my alarm.
I could never date a comic. I could also...
Rich Voss and Bonnie are still together.
Tom and Push.
And Natasha and Moshe. I haven't seen a ton of
successful ones.
Yeah. But I mean, there's not a ton of success. I mean, the batting average for any marriage is going to be challenging.
Yeah, but I think it's easier. Like, I need someone. I found someone. I needed someone who saw me as their project. Like, I needed what you would have been in the 50s.
Yeah. So you're a fixer-upper and you want a contractor, an emotional contractor.
Yeah, I want someone to be like, oh, don't worry, we got this, Bert. Like, right now, this is hardcore secret time. I'm working with someone. I'll talk to you about this after. But I'm working with someone who was like, I wanted this, and I was like, great. I was like, just so you know, that's not my strong suit. Is like replying to emails, or like I get very weird about texting people.
Really?
So, yeah, because I don't want to bother them. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, so like I'm better like. Yeah, I don't want to bother people, so I just go.
But it's a delight to hear from you.
No, thank you. But
is that a self-esteem thing, or is that a?
Sure. By the way, Whitney, I'm a fucking mess. Like, I'm a mess.
Do people know that about you?
No. People think it's amazing. I said something the other day to Segura, and he went, "Hey man, just so you know, like, what people see in you is on your Instagram, or when they see you at a show, they don't know who you are. Like, so like when you say these things, no one knows that that's who you are for real.
Yeah.
Because like someone said one time, how can you be friends? Someone said, it really hurt my feelings. It was a guy, a very popular podcast guy. It wasn't Joe, wasn't anyone we know. And I thought I was friends with him too. And he had a girl on his podcast, and he said, how can you be friends with Bert? And it hurt my feelings so bad. And Tom was like
Do you
caught
know
off
him?
guard. Yeah, I thought I was friends with him. And
Were they being facetious?
no, he was like he's loud, he's obnoxious, he's annoying, like. And I was like, I'm by the way, I'm paraphrasing that, I'm sure, as to what I read into it, but I remember Tom was caught off guard too. He's like, I like him, like he's a really nice guy. And
Wow, that's shocking.
yeah, and so like, but Tom said, you know, like and so I have a extremely low self-esteem. Like I have almost to a point especially when I start gaining weight again, like I ran the marathon and gained 15 pounds immediately.
Right.
And so immediately my self-esteem goes in the shitter. And now I'm training for the triathlon in hopes that I can get the weight back off and feel good about myself.
Do you think that's what it's linked to? I think everyone has a thing like, you know, your self-esteem is linked to mine is my productivity, like, or my body. Is that what yours?
Mine is not my productivity, oddly enough. I think it's really my body.
Yeah.
That sounds so crazy. Like I know if I party too hard, I get depressed in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I start going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's where you live. I mean, I'm not trying to plug the book. I just am.
Can I read that chapter aloud on my podcast?
Yes, of course you can.
I would love to.
And there's also a whole chapter about me struggling with body dysmorphia and eating disorders. So I went through that for a really long time.
Body dysmorphia can also this is how it registers with me, and I don't know if this is the same thing, but like I look at the left side of my body and I feel like it's fatter than the right side because I sleep on my left side, and I feel like all the fat aggregates there.
That's what it feels like. I mean, it's really like, you know, those like phantom limb syndrome shit. I mean, that's for real. Like I will in a photo, I still do it, and I'm already thinking about it because the camera's here. You think about your arm and your whatever.
You have great arms, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You have great arms. I noticed the fucking vein in your arm.
That's really.
I was like, you must definitely work out.
Very kind. And I stopped a little bit because it used to be my whole thing because I was so like my legs couldn't touch and my thighs couldn't touch and I had to fit.
See, that's what I like about you. I like when you share this shit. Like any guy that doesn't like that when they hear it on Rogan is just a lost dude. Like I like a little bit of fucking over honesty.
It's more like guys are like, women are overwhelming. I already have to deal with my girlfriend or my wife's shit. I don't want to deal with yours too. Just be funny and look hot and move on. You know, I get the kind of people who are tuning in to learn something, to be entertained. Like, why do I have to hear? I'm not fucking this girl. Why do I have to hear about her emotional problems? I get that. You know, fair.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I'm starting to see the hypocrisy in us guys, mostly because like I consider like all these guys who are like you know, you say a joke and you get offended, you could just turn it off. And then when that thing happened, all these guys lost their fucking minds. I was like, hey guys, you could have just turned it off. That's been the advice you've been giving to everyone.
But it's also, you know, or sit in the discomfort and learn something. Like if we turned something off every time we got uncomfortable, we would never change or grow or learn anything. By the way,
we're both on the same page. I'll take either or. You're offended, don't like it, easily walk
Change
away.
Channel.
Yeah. But those people who set up petitions and they're like, time to get this pulled off on Netflix. You're like,
that's happening?
No, it happened to someone else. Segura.
What?
Oh yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I think I don't want to speak about it because I don't want to give it any energy.
Yeah.
But he talked about it on Rogan.
Got it.
He used a word that is not a popular word, and then like 200,000 people signed a petition to get it removed off Netflix. The whole special from one joke, which by the way they took out of context and misquoted, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. Because once again, I don't want to give it energy.
All these people that are so upset about Netflix specials, go vote instead.
Yeah.
There's something you can vote on that's super important. President of the United States primaries. Like, it's amazing how in America, like 30% or something of people were voting in the elections, but everyone wants to vote on Netflix specials.
Yeah. So you did the 2 sitcoms, you did, and then you did the book, and then you did.
And then after that, I took like a year and like wrote a movie that never got made. Okay. I pitched a TV show that never happened. Like I was going to make it for FX and then kind of freaked out and regrouped. And then I did another special actually because I realized like I
saw that one with your hair in a bun or a ponytail.
Yeah, it was in a ponytail.
Isn't that crazy? That's what I remember.
Yes, that's like, it's so weird because I always think like no one cares about your hair. Stop thinking about it.
Oh, I know. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot because
it's like cheerleader pony.
Yeah, and it was moving with your energy, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! Like it's so funny. I saw that and I went, I'll never have that. I'll never like be able to sway a beard.
That's so funny.
The things I remember about people.
That's fascinating.
Can I tell you a fucking crazy thing about you that I bet you don't even know? No.
I told you that I remember the first time I met you. I don't think you remembered. You had just drank 2 bottles of soy sauce, and you came to the Laugh Factory. And you were like, I need some water, man. And everyone was like, what's wrong? You're like, I just drank 2 bottles of soy sauce.
That sounds right.
I was like, I love this guy. Yeah. You're like, I'm really thirsty.
Patrice O'Neill was at the Improv.
Yeah.
And you were there, and you walked up. No, it was
it was the Comedy Store.
No, it was at the Improv. Okay. It was at the Improv.
Okay.
And I was by the DJ booth standing there. I think it was like before the show started. Patrice was in the back corner left.
Yeah.
And you came up and said something to me, and I don't remember what you said to me. I don't remember any of that. I remember that I went back to Patrice and was like, man, that bitch just stole your energy. And I said, what? And he goes, that was some straight up pimp shit. Did you see that? Did you see that, Bert? That was pimp shit right there. And I had a joke about, the joke was, you know what cops hate? When you touch their faces. That was one of my jokes. You know what cops hate? When you touch their faces.
That's so funny.
But this will work when you get pulled over and a cop comes up to you. He's like, do you know why I pulled you over? Take your finger, put it to his lips and go, shh, and then take off, right? And Patrice had helped me write that joke.
Yeah.
I wrote it in Scotland, and Patrice is one that it happened in real life to a flight attendant.
Yeah.
I was on a plane with Patrice, and I was getting cut off, and she's like, sorry, I can't. And I put my finger on her lips and went, shh. And Patrice lost it. And he said, no, you got to make that about, you can't do a flight attendant, make it about a cop. It's funnier if it's a cop.
Yeah.
So I did it about a cop. And then you had done something where you were talking to me, and there was something on my face, and you touched my face, and Patrice loved it. He loved it. He was like, she stole your energy. You didn't see that? She stole your, like he was losing his shit. She touched your face and she could have said, get on your knees now, and you would have fucking done it. I don't even remember what you were saying. It wasn't like, can I go ahead or you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. Just a conversation. But you came up and I think you touched my ear.
That's so weird.
And I was like, and Patrice was laughing hysterically. He goes, I told you, that was some pimp shit.
Can I say something weird?
Yeah.
You telling me the story is so weirdly healing, because the first time I met him, he was so mean to me.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
Which is,
that's Patrice,
not specific to me at all, but I had carried it with me, and it hurt my feelings because I was such a fan of his. And I meet him for the first time because he was never in LA.
Yeah.
He was in the Comedy Store on the front patio with Dove, and I was so honored to meet. I'm a fan, and I was like, hi, my name's Whitney, so nice to meet you. And he was like, okay. Like, he just was sort of dismissive of me, and I was like hurt.
Oh, wow.
But now I feel like I can close that loop.
The bottom of that very quickly.
There's I have all of it. I was also a kid, and I thought that the world owed me a lot, and that everyone needed to be nice
Patrice
to me.
Didn't like white women.
Look,
he just didn't like especially a beautiful white woman who's
so
smart and funny, and like Patrice just was like, why are you doing this?
I was annoying. I literally I'm gonna do 3 spots a night. I mean, I'm sure
I think I've talked about this before, but I do remember you touching my ear. And it's
weird.
so funny. And then I went back, and Patrice was just like eyes wide, like, oh shit.
That's so weird and like insane that I did that.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I'm sorry about that.
No. It's so funny because there were like 3 times after that I'd run into you, and I'd go, is she gonna touch my face? Like, is this like, yeah.
You know what's so weird? The fact that you say that, I used to have such a phobia of anyone touching my face because I had such bad acne. You
actually said on a podcast one time that you didn't like to get too close to people or make eye contact.
That's right.
And I heard that and I went, that's so funny, because every time she was around me, I was always like, is she going to touch my face? How close is she going to get to me? Because Patrice noticed it. And I fucking was like, but I didn't, like, I remember you touching my ear. But Patrice was always like, that's some straight up pimp shit. She stole your energy. You just fucking, you could have gotten on your knees.
That's weird. I apologize.
No, I thought it was hilarious.
That is odd.
So tell me real quick. I'll get you out of here. I know you.
I just pushed it. I'm so sorry you have to watch me text.
No. I want to talk about the process of getting a movie made. Yeah. Your expectations, your feelings, because I watched it on the plane. I have notes, by the way.
Oh yes, so do I.
My only note. I loved the fucking.
Really?
I loved it. Yeah, of course. By the way, first of all, you wrote it. Nice. You directed it.
With
you were in
Neil
it.
Brennan and I wrote it together.
Yeah, and Neil was great in it.
Yeah, he was.
I was so fascinated.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a book.
Yeah.
And so, but I was so fascinated by I said to my wife, I go, you got to see this movie because there's the stats they talk about the female brain, the stuff they tell you about the female brain and why a female brain does this and what happens with sex after you've been married. And I was like, this is all stuff we're talking about. This is all very applicable in our lives. My only note was and by the way, I'm a big fan of his, and I don't know the girl, but I didn't like the casting of Dion and the girl.
Really?
That's my only note, was only because as me that's my only thing I can say about that entire fucking movie, was that I liked the storyline, but when they decided to get divorced, I was so angry.
That is such this is for those of you that don't know or do know. It was
spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, right. It's not
like they have a kid
murder
and I got
mystery.
angry. I go, no. Stick it out. Try to work on it.
I'm really glad that you said that. It is Sofia Vergara and Dion Cole.
That's Sofia Vergara?
Yeah. From Modern Family.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, she's so beautiful, and he's such a good-looking guy, and he's so cool, and he seemed like such a good husband. Like, they were both working so hard.
And look, I think that and it's me and Neil, so we really wanted to make sure, because there were so many happy endings in that movie, and it's 4 different storylines based on 4 different neurological focuses, basically, for those of you that don't know. And we didn't want it to feel like 4 happy endings. We didn't want it to feel pedantic and Hollywood, and we really wanted to actually give a voice and some visibility for people that do break up, and there's not shame around it. Because
I want to say I talked to someone else who watched the movie.
Yeah.
If it was not on that plane, it was on another flight.
Yeah.
It's on Delta right now.
Yeah.
And they said, well, yeah, but what's your option? The girl's ugly or the guy's ugly? And then you immediately go, and then you're like, because I was like, they're both so good looking.
Yeah.
Part of me goes, don't they always stay together?
It was almost going to be Lenny Kravitz. And if it was Lenny Kravitz and Sofia Vergara,
your casting was fantastic.
2 most gorgeous people on the planet, were like, why? But I think that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to go there is honor in just going, you know what, let's call it. Because in our country, and I guess probably globally as well, the idea of divorce is so are you it can be a solution to a problem. Our life expectancy is as long as it's ever been. Getting divorced, if that's what you want to do, cool. As long as you're not hurting the children, as long as you're mature about it, go for it. We don't have to you have an amazing marriage. Not everybody has something that's great, it doesn't have to be something to be ashamed of. It's something that you can handle with class and grace like adults. So
you were amazing in it. You were amazing.
Really?
You were amazing.
That's so kind.
Your assistant,
Beanie Feldstein.
She's awesome.
Yeah, Beanie Feldstein. You guys probably know her from Lady Bird.
Best
Neighbors too.
Best one, without doubt, is fucking Blake Griffin's wife.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm obsessed with her right now.
She's with Cecily Strong.
Yeah.
She's from
fucking
SNL.
amazing.
She's honestly, I feel so, and I think again, if you're doing a TV show and all that stuff, casting is the most important fucking thing.
It's so important. I cannot wait to this. I can't wait to wrap this so I can walk you to your car and slowly talk to you about the thing.
No, you're gonna text me, and
casting is so fucking important.
It's so not only so important, but it's also finding people that can do drama and comedy. And I really tried to put dramatic actors in funny roles and funny actors in dramatic roles. So Cecily Strong and Sofia Vergara are doing dramatic work, and I got a bunch of comedians to do that. And then Toby Kebbell, who's in it, did you ever see Black Mirror, the entire History of You episode where he's got the thing in his ear, the English version? He was in Planet of the Apes.
Wait, which one is he?
He plays my guy in it.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he was
Wait, is he British?
Yes.
I'm so glad I didn't know that. I would have hated him. I call that cultural appropriation. I don't like when they do it. I don't like when they whitewash it with other fucking people. I don't like when the Brits come over and take our American fucking roles.
I mean, that's a very big conversation right now. But
it's a big conversation. You know what? Let me say something. I fucking lose my shit when I find out they're British and I go, you motherfucker, you tricked me.
Well, no, there's a huge conversation, a lot of my black friends, with you can't be an English black actor and play an American slave in a movie.
I agree with that.
There's a lot of conversation.
I would even go as far as Nick Kroll playing a Puerto Rican in
I get annoyed when actors play comics. That's all that bothers me. When someone's like, "Hey, everybody, what's good?" It's that's not what we're doing.
Dude, I lost my shit when Sandy Duncan played fucking Peter Pan. I lost my shit as a kid. So wait,
that's funny.
Talk me through if you can. And by the way, this is my curiosity.
I
want to know about. You optioned the rights to that book.
This is actually kind of a crazy magical thing that happened. I was really obsessed with the book. I was talking about it in my stand-up. I was talking about the neurology of I feel like the men and women are different. Like, ugh, like that's such 80s comedy, you know, but there were so many things that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't want it to feel like, you know, I was doing some like parody of comedy by, you know, talking about that subject. So I was really trying to make it neurologically based and educational. And I was at the Comedy Store one night and I was doing jokes about the female brain. I read this book, The Female Brain, and I get a call the next day that my agent's like, hey, this financer wants to meet with you about a book. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. And they were like, no, I think you want to go. And he was like, I saw you at the Comedy Store and you should make a movie about it. Was like a guy suggested that I do it. I never in a million years thought anyone would want to make a neurology movie. A financier said something about it and he was like, go write a script. And I was like, okay, like it was like a cartoon Hollywood meeting. Like I've never had anything that auspicious or serendipitous happen.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to write like The Female Brain written by a woman. I was like, let me make this super non-biased and fair. And Neil and I are really good friends. And it's like, do you want to write this together? And Neil's super into neurology and all that kind of stuff. So we wrote it, lost that financer for a ton of reasons. And then had written a script for kind of no money and had no way to make it and thought that a year of my life was completely wasted. And then we met this other financer, this very young girl, through one of our agencies who was willing to make it for a minuscule amount of money.
Can you talk about how much?
$1 million.
A movie for $1 million
that is a microscopic.
So I'm gonna do the person listening right
budget.
now, and because I know that this is your movie.
Yeah.
The person listening right now, okay, they're going, so $1 million.
That sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Do all the actors get paid? How much?
Blake Griffin got $100 a day. For 4 days.
Okay, that's a good.
He got $400, and he has to give commission to his agent, so he probably took home with taxes $200.
Okay, all right. Like, were there trailers on set?
There were trailers. Sofia Vergara walked into her trailer, and the drawers were full of rotten meat.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. How many locations did you shoot on?
We shot in, I want to say 16 days.
16 days?
Yeah. Some of it we had to shoot in my house. Like it was really down and dirty.
Which one was your house?
The one that... that lab. No, it was, remember when I was in bed with the dog?
Yeah.
That's my bedroom.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, that's my dog. Like, by the way, which is illegal. The amount of illegal shit that went down on that movie, you're not allowed to just use your own dog in a movie. It's against some union shit. Yeah. I'm having like friends come and be in scenes. That shit's illegal. Yeah. Like, had to do so much sketchy shit. And everything that could go wrong went wrong. I don't know if you've ever seen Lost in La Mancha. Highly recommend. It's a movie about Terry Gilliam trying to make the Don Quixote movie. It's a documentary.
I'll watch it tonight.
It's basically everything that could go wrong in the making of the movie goes wrong. I don't want to spoil anything. It's incredible. And that's kind of what the experience was like. I didn't have dailies. I didn't have playback. For those of you that don't know what it is, that's what you do to make sure you're getting it. So we just like got in the edit bay and we're like, didn't get that. Like it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. And thank God I cast those actors. Yeah. I mean, James Marsden was such a pro. Like he was literally like, that gel needs to be over here. I was like, okay, whatever. You know.
James Marsden
he played the guy that had the zit that the girlfriend wanted to pop.
Oh, he is awesome.
He's so funny.
Bro, can I tell you that might have been my favorite storyline?
Really?
Yeah, easily. James Marsden was, first of all, he's a guy that I've seen in a bunch of shit, but I don't know who he is.
He's been in everything and so much comedy, and he's in Westworld.
Yeah, that's what he's in.
So it's like he's just kind of in everything, and he disappears into it. He was in The Notebook and all these big romantic comedies.
And that girl is, by the way, is beautiful. I liked when you took all the fucking makeup off her.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That storyline was so tricky for those who don't know.
That's probably, no joke, without a doubt, my favorite storyline because it just played out so well when she went to see her mom and he didn't come. Not this, just watch the movie, but like...
Yeah, but it was really, I mean, when we screened it, women were crying at that scene and men were crying at that scene. And a lot of men were like, I had no idea that this was so hard on women. And like, I had no idea that you guys try to change us because because it's really about that. It's about a woman who's trying to change her man and thinks she has to wear all this makeup. And it's such a flimsy story. If someone pitched it to me, I'd go, that's never going to work.
Oh, it's so good.
It's not sustainable, but I think
he said when they're in the hospital, just leave. Yeah. You're not leaving. Oh my God, I've been there. Where you're like, I don't want to see you right now. Yeah. Like, fucking
we
James
worked
Marsden's
so
a badass.
hard he's a badass. We worked so hard to make sure that felt like a real breakup, like they were not getting back together.
Yeah.
Because like,
I did not. Yeah. By the way, I was like, I was like, good for him.
That's such a like huge compliment.
Yeah, it was really fucking awesome. And then and so then what was the, like, did you enjoy the process? Do you think you'll do another movie?
I enjoyed working with the actors and seeing
What did you enjoy more, writing, acting, or directing?
Well, I was doing all of them concurrently, so I wasn't able to like enjoy any, but I think I directing is like directing is really hard. I mean, it's really hard, I think, if you don't have a lot of money, because there's things you want to do, but everyone's saying, well, you can't do that and you can't do that. And I'm like, well, I want to shoot over there. And they're like, we don't have permits. And you're like, well, I wanted to dress the actor in this costume. Well, we can't afford it. So it's like, well, I thought I was the director. I thought I got to do whatever I want. And they're like, no, basically being a director is just like managing everybody's expectations and just apologizing constantly for the fact that like your trailer doesn't have air conditioning. Like I didn't realize that's what I was going to be doing. But I learned so much. And like, again, if I didn't have Blake Griffin and Cecily Strong and Dion Cole and James Marsden.
It's a really impressive cast. And by the way, I don't mean to shit on Dion and Sophia. I just didn't like how good looking they. I didn't like that they didn't get together. It bothered me, and I went
that they didn't stay together.
Yeah, because I was like, oh come on, Dion, where the fuck are you going? Like, because I know him.
Yeah.
So I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, that's
you're not
really
fucking
funny.
Walking out
yeah,
of that.
You're not going to leave Sofia Vergara.
You're not going to call it quits.
So funny.
And I was like, Sofia, really?
But I
it's
think
Dion Cole.
But I think here's the thing. That I think was really important, because if it had been someone that's unattractive by society standards, then it would have been like, well, of course they're going to get divorced. He wants to fuck other people. I think the idea that they were both so fuckable was part of why I think it should be somewhat hopefully profound or resonant. Because like, oh, it's not about how hot you are. Like after you've been together 11 years, like you're going to have seen each other for 11 years. Like the thrill kind of wears off after a while.
See, I'm married 14, almost 15.
Yeah, amazing.
And like, but I'm super still in love with my wife. So I think I saw it from that perspective.
Right.
Of like, I go, if my wife looked like that, I would never have a problem. Like, I have a problem now, and she's trying to work on Beachbody on demand. Like,
but yeah, I mean, I do think the idea was like each storyline, someone's going to relate to, or someone's going to appreciate, but other ones they might not. You know, like young people are going to watch that and be like, what is this marriage shit?
What do you have coming up down the line? What do you want to do?
I'm touring. Are you doing
another special?
I'm doing another special, yeah.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm putting together a special now. So I'm doing it like the way that's not cool right now. Like I'm doing tours of like clubs so that I can do 6 shows in a row. Yeah. And it's like we're in this Instagram place where I'm like, I'm doing clubs. Like I do theaters, I swear. Like
no, but can I give you my perspective?
Yes.
I definitely don't want to do like I know something you don't know, but like
please do.
I think that people get caught up in being a theater comic.
Agree. And
I think that they lose what made comedy fun for them in the first place. And so like I am not like it's a conversation that happens agent to client as opposed to comic to comic.
That's right.
And I think if comic to comic had the conversation, it would be very different. Yeah. In that, like I see D'Elia. I'll use D'Elia as an example because I think he's a safe space in that he knows that I like him and that I think very fondly of him. Yeah. But I see him doing theaters and I go, oh fuck yeah. And then if I saw him doing a club, I go, what happened to the theaters? But I think that. Yeah. And I know that like Segura does theaters and now he's doing clubs right now. Yeah. You do clubs to write the material.
That's right.
But you also there's that stigma's unneeded because you're going to make probably 3 times as much as you are in a club as you are at a theater. Yeah. Unless you can do 2 shows. Yeah. And in which case, if you can do 2 shows, then it's just I would not get caught up in that because I think what you need to be a better comic is 6 shows. That's right. I used to shit on the guys who like, I go, who the fuck needs to go to the comedy store every single night and do fucking 3 shows a night? Yeah. Like, so you're only doing 15 minutes. New York comics. I think that mostly about New York comics. Yeah. But then I started doing it at the store and I was like, oh, that's right. You get to do that same bit within 15 minutes of each other as opposed to 1 show.
What did I say last time? Did that get a laugh? Because that's my thing is like, I don't want to charge theater prices until the hour's popping and like perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now I'm like experimenting. I'm changing things around. I'm adding things. I'm trying new material.
I'd go as far as like, I don't know what, like, I want to go. I wish we could do. I wish that I did a little bit of this, but I wish you could do it in clubs where you go with like 4 really great theater acts or headliners.
Yeah.
But like headliners who sell tickets.
Yeah.
And go, guys, the money's not, but we're going to sell out. We're going to add shows. We're doing 3 shows Thursday, 3 shows this.
Love it.
So no one's, but no one's exhausted because you're only doing like 20 minutes each.
Yeah.
And you're all doing new shit.
I love that. I love that.
Because I'm there right now, but like I'm trying to write my new hour.
Yeah.
So that
when your special comes out, you can go on the road.
Yeah, but I'm struggling at 32 minutes. Like at 32 minutes, I got 32 minutes.
You got to you got to just book clubs where you're doing an hour and be forced to stretch.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't have any of these problems. I'll tell you my problem is like I don't think people have never seen me as someone who's...
Now that you have this new abortion bit, you're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
This new 38-minute...
People have never seen me as the guy who struggled on stage, meaning I just did the road. I was never a guy looking to do a special.
Right.
So I was always doing the road. And then when I went and did a special, it was people liked it.
Yeah.
And I was already so backlogged with material. I was like, I'm already ready for my next special.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? And then I went and did another special, like 12 months, 13 months later, and that's coming out, and I'm like, I still got a ton of material, but for the first time, I'm going up on stage, and I'm failing at times. I'm taking chances that I wouldn't normally have taken, and I'm failing to try to write better, and I think I'm afraid, my fear is that people are going to look at me and go, he lost it. It was a fluke.
No, I mean, I think that this is something that like, and I'm finding myself before I, do shows, be like, this is all new material, just like, I don't want people to think like, this is like, I'm like, this isn't 100% yet, like still working it out. Like I feel the need to manage expectations. But I mean, I used to watch, and we still do, like Chris Rock go up at the Comedy Store, and he'd be like, well, that didn't work. And you're like, Chris, something didn't work that Chris Rock said on stage. Like it happens at every level. We're just forced to churn out so much more. And now we have magnifying glasses on us,
And
So
it's like, there's gotta be an easier way to do it. You can't even do it at the store anymore.
I don't. I go to Flappers in Burbank.
Flappers and fucking Sycamore.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, the Sycamore Tavern. I've seen you that. Yeah. I am looking for shithole like places to just work on new stuff.
Fun to go up in nowhere. Joey Diaz is the king of finding them.
I know. He's got Ha Ha Cafe on Wednesday, so I started. I started
is
that.
Joey doing it? Is he doing it on Wednesday?
He goes Wednesday, I think 9:30 or something.
Yeah, the rooms are fucking.
But I go to Flappers 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Just to like perform in front of 5
people. So you're going to do a new special.
I'm on the road doing a new special, and I think I'm going to do a show. I don't really know where yet. We're literally in the middle of dealing with it right now. That's I can't really.
Oh, like a show. What
yeah,
say,
like a TV show. Yeah,
okay.
that I'm writing with Lee Daniels, who's awesome.
Lee Daniels is from the Twins.
He's a
Expos.
The what?
Is he a professional baseball player?
I don't think so. Even if he was, I wouldn't know his name. So that's how I know he's not. No, he did the movie Precious. He does that show Empire.
I'm doing that. I know who Lee Daniels is. I'm doing that because you did from the dish. You were like, he owns the Giants or something. You said Lee Daniels. I know exactly who he is. But I know he plays for the Expos. I don't even think the Expos are a thing anymore. I think the Expos aren't even a
when
team
you said
anymore.
the Expos, I was like a conference, like a
fuck me,
like a video game expo. Like I didn't understand.
And why aren't you doing a solo podcast?
That's a really interesting question. I've had conversations about it. I'm the same reason you don't want to send texts to people. I haven't done a podcast.
I'll tell you what, I started doing.
I don't want to bother people.
Nope. I started a solo podcast. I'll be very honest, and I've said this to these 2 people, Chris D'Elia and Theo Vaughn.
You told them to do podcasts?
No.
Oh.
I saw that they were doing solo podcasts, and I was watching them, and I was enjoying them, and I was thinking, it's funny. They're fucking just writing. They're writing on the fly.
Yeah.
They're coming up with stuff, and I thought I've always wanted to do one, but I don't know if I could just talk like Chris straight to camera.
Yeah.
Or Theo. I don't like. They're really good at making them saying one word a 15-minute bit. And I can't do that. Like,
I mean, Theo's on some next level shit, right? I mean, he just kills me.
He's, by the way, I will tell you, we did this thing called Reality Bites Back. Me, Amy Schumer.
I remember that,
a bunch of comics.
I think that's why you were drinking the soy sauce.
It was. And Theo Vaughn was the funniest human any of us have ever met.
He clowns me when I tell this story because every time I see him, I tell this story to whoever's around.
Yeah.
He made me laugh as hard as anything's ever made me laugh. One time we were in a airport, like literally like the West Virginia airport. And you know when you run into a comic in the airport and you're just like, hey man, like even if you've never met them before, it's like your family all of a sudden. You're like, oh, what club were you at? What the, you know? And I ran into him. But normally you make a thing, hey, where were you coming from? Where are you flying out? He was sitting, it was like these two couches that were back to back. He was sitting, I sat down like next to him. I turn, you can't miss his hair. So I look and I see, I'm like, holy shit, that's Theo. That's Theo. There's a television in the upper right-hand corner of the gate. And I look over and I'm like, hey Theo, what's up, man? Whitney, how are you? And he goes, hey, what's up? He looks up at the TV without missing a beat. No, like, where did you fly in from? It's 5 a.m. VH1 is on. He looks at VH1 and he just goes, VH1, talk about a network without a game plan. Like, honestly, no one else thinks that's as funny as I do. But it was just the fact that I sat down and he was just like, hey, VH1. Like, he was just, it was so surprising and it was so funny and it was so, no one would say that.
I'm not even joking when I say I haven't talked to Amy in fucking years.
Yeah.
For some reason, I connected very easily with Amy. I felt like she looks a lot like my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
And she was really good friends with my sisters. Like, would stay at my sister's house when she came into LA. Yeah. But they all just connected really quickly. Yeah. And Amy and I were watching Theo Von interact with Michael Ian Black. And Michael Ian Black could not figure out what the joke was, and we were dying laughing. And Theo was just being so funny.
So
and he
funny.
was not trying to. I saw him the other day, but not to blow up Theo's spot, but like I did a show in San Francisco, and but it was like Clusterfest, so it's a bunch of comics walking around. Mm-hmm. Him and a bunch of other guys went up before me. I didn't say open for me, but went up before me, and they opened for me, and so. And I watched Theo sit down on a stool in front of an audience and just fucking work out a story. And I was like, bro, people forget he was on the fucking Road Rules. People forget he was on Road Rules.
You just reminded me of that.
He was on Road. You have no idea how hard it is to go from fucking Road Rules to stand-up comedy.
No idea.
The transition was so difficult for him and Christina Pajitsky that when you see them, and I remember
was Christina on Road Rules?
Oh yeah.
What?
Christina Pajitsky was on like the second season of Road Rules when they went to Australia.
What?
Yo, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
I forgot.
I might do a solo podcast on Christina on Road Rules.
We're
doing open tabs.
I have to do my call. Do you want to do it now and I'll go do my call and come back?
No. We'll wrap this up.
It'll take 5 minutes, but I want to keep talking to you. But
do your call.
Okay.
And we'll cut here.
Okay.
Yeah,
and we can come back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Are we back?
Yes.
Is that rolling?
Thank you. I have to think about that.
Was it a positive conversation?
Yeah, sure. It was a conference call. I mean, it's great.
I hate conference calls.
Great. Which one of you on this call is going to sue me in 3 years?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm also so shiny because I was standing outside with your chickens and I'm sweating.
Oh, well, we kept the AC on.
I look like a
might as well just keep
wax
the AC on.
Figure, probably.
I've been fucking hot as shit. That's why we're trying to buy a location to my wife and I are trying to buy a location to do the podcast in.
Yeah.
And so I have a real estate agent. Shout out to Dana Coronado, who's, maybe I shouldn't have said her name.
Yeah, now you're never gonna hear from her again because she doesn't have so many clients.
But she is trying to send me locations. One of the places is a church. It's an old church.
I like that.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool.
It's pretty badass.
You could rent like an office or something.
I could. I wanted to.
This is great.
I know, but I
change?
don't mind having. It's interesting. I think because I have little girls, I don't mind you coming here. I don't mind Nikki Glazer coming here. I don't mind the vast majority, but then there are some people where you're like, oh yeah, maybe we could do this at night when my kids are asleep. And then there's even some people where I'm like, yeah, I don't know you at all, and I just told you everything about where I live.
Right. I didn't even think of that. That's tricky.
I wouldn't mind doing it. I wouldn't mind buying a location.
Yeah, that's smart. Keep
but you got to
separation
do.
between.
I would say I would love
Uber
to hear
has ruined that for me. 900 guys know where I live now, so I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna die soon anyway.
I said I really got in trouble the other day.
Why?
I was at a shoe place. I won't tell you the one, but it's that one. I don't know if you ever go to the one, that one.
Shoe?
Don't worry. Anyway, it's for running, and so the girl there's this one girl who's very pretty. I know everything about her now because the woman goes, "Can I get your phone number?" And the girl gives out her phone number. She goes, "Can I get your address?" And the girl gives out her entire address.
Yeah.
And I said, "There's got to be a better way to do that." Like thinking out loud, too much coffee.
Yeah.
Jumping into a conversation. Like, "Excuse me? I go, I know where you live." Like that's fucking.
Oh, like because you were standing next to her and you got her address.
And I go, "I know where you live." And she went, "Okay." And I was just like, "That." I'm not
It's
a threat,
weird.
but like you can't do that.
But also,
and then they were like,
the only thing worse than like, I'd actually rather you come to my house and attack me than get whatever offering they're sending. I'd rather get you than shitty mail.
Yeah, I would much rather.
You would be a delight. If you showed up at my door, I'd be thrilled. If I get one fucking Bed Bath & Beyond coupon, I'm going to lose my mind.
It's crazy. Like sometimes I'll talk shit to people. Like I talked shit to these two guys one time. We're walking down my street really slow.
Yeah.
And they were in the center of the street, and I'm pulling down the street, and they're not moving, and I honk, and the one guy goes, "The fuck? What are you gonna do?" And I was like, and I honk again.
What are you gonna do?
And he just nothing. I will do nothing. And he walks very slowly around my car, and he's like, beat it. And then I pulled.
It's on your
20
street?
feet into my house, and I was like, "Now he knows where I live."
I actually would love to see the fucking. He's so lazy that I'm not worried.
Can I pitch you?
Yes.
I thought of this yesterday. I was like, I want to do a TV show called Cold Opens. Like a great cold open can really sell us. By the way, one of my favorite pilots ever was Yes Dear. Did you ever see the pilot of Yes Dear?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that.
This is one of the best
remember it.
pilot. I think
really?
This is how
I think Mad About You and Cheers are my two favorite
pilots.
Multicam pilots. Yeah.
Oh. Yes Dear's pilot.
Ellen is fucking excellent too.
Ellen,
the Ellen pilot.
Can I pitch you Yes Dear's pilot?
Yes.
Tell me this isn't the funniest thing either, ever. The Mike and Molly guy, not Mike and Molly. Mike O'Donnell, Mike O'Dowd, Mike. Whatever happened to him? He used to be a big actor.
You haven't said his name yet. I don't know.
The guy, not Anthony Clark, the other guy.
Brad Garrett?
No, from Yes Dear, Mike.
Mike
O'Malley.
O'Malley.
Yeah.
Right.
I said Mike O'Malley.
Mike and Molly.
Mike O'Malley.
I feel like that happens to him constantly.
Him and his wife.
He was a comic, right?
No.
Oh, why?
I think he was he's just straight up actor.
Oh, got it.
He was an actor who wore a hat. And so, by the way, I'm not shitting on him. I like him.
So a homeless person.
Yeah. So him and his wife go out, and they're planning on moving to LA. And they're trying. You can and Anthony Clark's character all the time is like, they want to move in with us. They want to move in with us. And his wife's like, I think they're sisters. She's like, get to know him. He's a great guy. So the whole premise is their kid's gonna have his first steps, and Anthony Clark the whole time is wanting to videotape his kid getting his first steps.
Yeah.
And so then the two moms say, you know what, we're going to go out have a spa day. Why don't you guys hang out? And Anthony Clark's like, I have nothing in common with the guy. So the guy says to him, Anthony Clark says, we should go to the park. And he goes, okay, we go to the park. They go to the park, and they realize there's a casino right around the corner. He goes, let's just go to the casino. So they're like, all right. So they go to the casino, and Anthony Clark starts winning. I love this pilot so much. He starts winning. He starts winning big. And in the middle of his winning, his kid takes his first steps, and he grabs the camera and shoots it and captures his kid's first steps, except they're in a casino, right?
Oh, so we can't show it to his wife.
We can't show it to his wife.
Great.
We went to a casino.
Great.
So he goes, Mike O'Malley says, don't worry. My buddy's a graphic designer. He's a graphic artist. He's an editor. It's a green floor.
Great.
We'll just green screen it.
That is fucking awesome.
So they come home.
Great.
And the women come home, and Anthony Clark's waiting for Mike O'Malley, and they're like, hey, how was your day? And they're like, oh my God, the baby's walking? And he's like, he is. And they're like, did you get it on camera? And Mike O'Malley walks in, and he goes, actually, we did. And I've got the footage. And he's like, how's it look? He's like, you're gonna love it. Is he
like in a forest
and
or
he
something?
Puts it in, and it's the kid walking in the park. It looks perfect. It looks fucking perfect. And then the kid starts walking on water. I fucking was dying. I was like, this is my new favorite show. And then I only watched that episode.
When was this?
This is
when it came out in
2000.
Yeah.
It was in 2000.
Yeah.
The
smart. That was Courtney Thorne-Smith. Was she the wife?
No. Thanks. I wish they're both like big sitcom actors. So I think I've seen them other stuff.
Yeah.
And
then was that not a Jim Belushi? I mix all those up.
No, I read for the Mike O'Malley character. So I was in a deal at CBS at the time.
Right.
and they said, we have this pilot. Yes, dear.
Yeah.
We want you to play like the Mike O'Malley character. And so I was like, okay.
Did you have to audition for Mike O'Malley to play Mike O'Malley?
Yeah. And I had to play Mike O'Malley.
How'd that go? He was in the room.
Yeah. He was a really interesting sitcom story. He had the biggest deal ever, like at the time at NBC, I think. Yeah. And the Mike O'Malley show. Yeah. And he lost a ton of weight to play the role. And like, meaning like he went LA. He lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. And he wasn't the guy they initially found. And it fell apart. And they say it's the lowest rated sitcom ever.
Because he lost weight and we liked you before.
And so that was when I got into development. They were like, do not lose weight.
Wow.
They're like, stay like you are.
They've never said that to a woman ever.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. They're like, lose weight.
Wait, do people ever say that to you?
No, because I was always too skinny, I think. Because I mean, which looks kind of normal, I guess, on camera based on like actress standards. I think that's changing a lot right now. But I had really bad under eye bags on camera. So the way that they light a sitcom, we've been talking about sitcoms so much today.
By the way, I'm fascinated. I think part of me feels like there's so many people in this world that are into television. They're into this business. They're interested in how you make a movie. That if you share the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that's fascinating, I think people will go, whoa.
See, I thought about talking about it on stage as well. I thought about talking about like the whole Roseanne thing on stage. And like, I for some reason assume that it's so boring to people to hear about work, and it sounds like I'm bloviating and being like an egomaniac. So
right now, everyone listening is going, please
talk about it.
Stuff.
I know.
Like, it's fascinating.
Well, it's the way that basically multicams are lit is they light the set, not the actor. So the way movies and single cam shows, The Office, is that, well, The Office is tricky because they kind of shoot single cam, multicam. It's a bad example. So does Modern Family. Give me a single cam show. New Girl is that they're able to light the actor. So everyone gets their own light. They can do a ring light around the camera. Everyone looks great. A multicam, it's a play. So they just light the set, and then you walk into it. If you look like shit, it's just kind of not our problem. And there's so many actors in each scene that they have to just light everything. And so for me, I used to have really bad eye bags. Really bad.
I do not see that.
Well, I was also working 18 hours a day, and I wasn't sleeping when I was doing that TV show because I was not trusting the writers, and I was doing every job, and I didn't know how to delegate, and I was just under a tremendous amount of stress. My mom had a stroke, and so I had really bad eye bags. Is your mom still alive now? My dad is not. My mom is. Yeah, they both had strokes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my mom is alive. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
I answered that weird.
Yeah,
it was weird. I didn't want to let you down by saying she was alive. So
I want to live up to your expectations.
My dad's dead, though. Do I get any credit for that?
Dead.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah. Kids like, my mom's alive is such a boring answer. So I was like, will this make me more interesting? I have tragedy, I swear. And so I had really bad under eye bags, and there was like this thing of like, we got to take a week off because Whitney looks like a fucking crack addict. And so I went to all these doctors, and it's so funny that people are always giving me shit because people think that I got like work done or something. It's actually the opposite. I went to all these doctors and I was like, what happened? And normally they would put filler in your face. That's what people use in their face to fill in. But this doctor told me your face would look so crazy with filler. Like you would just look like a blowfish because of the way my face is or something. So he was like, you're not allowed to get that. You're just never allowed to eat salt while you're filming. So because it's water. It's water. It's just the way that like there's fat, but it's also the way that your face retains water or whatever.
I got this great eye thing done to me the other day on set where they put these little things under, and then she took a steel thing and
rolled it for the inflammation.
And I was like, thank you.
Something really great is you can put them in the fridge also. So when it's like having a little ice bath, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what it does for your body.
I've got them in the fridge.
A little face mask. They're little pink.
These little green things. I like them.
Yeah. They can also fix it in post now also. They can do digital makeup, which is real? Like, I learned that. You learn that directing movie where you're just like, don't worry about the lighting right now. We'll just fix it in post and clean it up.
I want to get a skin peel.
Really?
Yeah, because I have a lot of sun damage on my forehead from being on Travel Channel.
Yeah.
Where it's like almost like discoloration where your face got the most of the sun.
Here's what I'll say though. The one thing, and I'm not a dermatologist, but the one thing I do know about lasers and skin peels is they thin your skin. So you age faster and you have less sun protection.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not getting out of the sun. So I might as well just not worry about it.
Yeah, micro needling I think might be good. That's kind of the thing that's supposed to work. And then the vampire facial, which I did.
What's a vampire facial?
They take your blood, they spin it.
Get the hemoglobin?
To to separate the protein-rich plasma.
That's what you want.
Rogan's on this shit. You can put it in your joints. You can put it in your tissues. You can put it in injuries. You can also put it back into your skin. And it's supposed to help. It's fucking expensive and it hurts like all fuck. But I've done that a couple times.
I'd be into that. I'm always into that. Like, I like that.
It's supposed to be good for baldness also.
I had a friend, I won't say his name.
Jay Moore.
No.
I'm just
No, I don't think
that's what Howard Stern does.
I don't think he has. I don't think he's super vain about that shit.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I'm just,
no. Oddly enough, I think people think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't spoken to Jay in probably 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, we had a falling out, but yeah. But the one thing I have to say about it is
I don't think you're the only person.
He's had a few of those. I think yeah,
so a friend
he's
of
not. I never found him to be vain about how he looked.
Yeah. Well, you also haven't talked to him in 10 years.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I'm just.
I care about my hair loss, but not enough to do anything about it.
But you don't have it bad.
I have it bad in the back and the top.
Really?
Yeah.
This protein-rich plasma, it's supposed to generate growth of the hair you already have.
I'll do it.
So they'll put like 1 million injections into your head, and it's supposed to work. I think it works. I don't know. I literally.
You look great.
I lived on diet soda and adrenaline for 15 years. So the fact that I even am presentable to society at all is a fucking miracle. So I think it must work.
My wife is the rock in the ocean that just goes, hit me with your hardest wave. When it comes to aging, she doesn't give a fuck.
I love that. But she also doesn't have to be on high-def television constantly.
That's why I want to get her on a sitcom. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. She's going to play my wife on my sitcom. It's called No Dear.
My wife was this is hardcore. No, I can't even share this.
Okay, don't. But I mean, I wish I could do that.
Oh my God,
it's
you
like
Greek out. You're fucking.
You know what? I can't believe you just noticed that. I don't do it. I did Steve Burns' movie.
Yeah, I know.
They did this.
I heard Steve Byrne has a movie and didn't cast all his fucking friends.
I love that you and Dalia.
The fuck,
did the
Steve?
same thing. Yeah, he is directing a movie. And
yeah, it's called
Opening Act.
Opening Act.
Yeah.
And
you're bummed you weren't in it?
Well, no, I'm not. By the way, no. In all honesty, no. Yeah. But a lot.
There is a Bert Kreischer role.
And Tom Segura played it. I know. He called me for Tom's number.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, he called me for Tom's number.
I was joking.
No. He called me. He goes, no, I don't know.
First of all, who calls anyone?
He texted me and he said, he goes, do you have Segura's number? And I was like, yeah. And so I texted Tom. I go, hey, Steve Byrne, Tom's we got a new phone because he doesn't like people calling him. So he's really weird about people calling him.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, Steve Byrne, I'm going to give him your number. Is that cool? And he's like, I already talked to him. I was like, oh, cool. What was it about? And he was like, I guess he wants me to be in a movie.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, we're similar casting. What the fuck did he call me? I've known him. I was like, I wanted to go.
Or if you're going to cast someone that's like you, don't ask you for his number.
Yeah,
Ask me for Segura's
someone
number.
Else for fucking Segura's number. Fucking asshole. How the fuck? I've known him, by the way. I've been friends with him so much longer than Tom Segura. So much longer than Tom Segura. How's he put I understand you gotta make your money back. You gotta take your most famous friends. But fucking nothing? I get nothing in this?
Look, you'll be in reshoots, I'm sure. You would have had to drive out to Brea.
I could do that drive.
You just said you don't care about doing movies. We just went through this.
No, it's the fact that Steve Byrne's making a fucking movie and he didn't put me in it. That's what pisses me off. Oh, I cannot wait until I get something, and I'm gonna make it. Bert lives with 90 Asians, and I'm not putting Steve Byrne in it. There are 90 Asians who are all mixed Asian, half Irish, half Korean, and Steve Byrne's not gonna have a fucking part.
No, but you have to call Steve and go, hey, do you know anyone who looks like half Asian, half Irish?
Yeah. Hey, do you know Roy Choi's number? The guy that's
do you have Dat Phan's number?
Fucking dick. He didn't put DeLeo in it either.
He's not a dick.
He's a fucking dick.
No,
Steve Byrne's a dick.
No, he's
not.
a
fucking dick.
That's not
Steve
true.
Byrne is a self-centered fucking dick. Fucking soundbite that and put it in a fucking meme.
Steve gave me my first
He gave you a break?
Road gigs.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. 13 years ago. It's actually kind of an amazing story that reveals a lot about how much of a piece of trash and dirtbag I am. I'm starting to do stand-up. I had done Last Call with Carson Daly. I was not prepared at all. And I did well, but I was just telling jokes. I was an open micer. And I guess they needed a girl or something. I actually ended up writing on the show after that. That was my first paying job, actually. And Steve Byrne sent me a MySpace. And he's like, hey, if you're ever in New York, let me know and I'll get you some spots. And I'm thinking like, okay, I guess I have to like flirt with this guy in order to get, you know.
So not Steve.
So literally, I'm like, thank you so much. Smiley face, smiley face. I'm coming out to New York in 2 months. Da 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 da. XOXO, Whitney. And then I come out to New York. He sends me a list of spots. He gets me spots at Stand Up New York, the Improv when it was open, Comic Strip Live. He sends me like 8 spots at clubs that I am not at all qualified to perform at, and I've never met him. And so then I'm like, I'm gonna have to fuck this guy. Like I'm thinking like, ugh. And then I'm like, so can we meet? Like I'm thinking I have to like go on a date with him or like have coffee.
He's like, nah.
He shows up at Comic Strip Live, and I'm like, I guess I have to go on a date with this guy. He shows up with the hottest girl I've ever seen, and I'm like, the fact that I thought he had any interest in me, what a narcissistic monster. He's just that nice of a fucking guy.
He really is. And that's what I think burns so bad why he fucked me over like that.
Aww.
He's just such a, I mean.
He didn't fuck you over.
He fucked me in the ass because he's a dick.
He's not a dick.
Fucking Sullivan's son didn't even read for a fucking part.
Neither did I.
Yeah, there's no fucking chicks in it.
Oh.
You had your own 2 sitcoms. Steve Byrne, I'm going to make a show. I'm going to fucking write a script. I'm going to write a script and I'm going to put it online and go, guys, hey guys, I want to get this GoFundMe for, it's called the Anti-Steve Byrne Project. Fucking.
Actually, the better thing to do would just be to make a movie called The Opening Act.
Called the Steve Byrne
And try
story.
to get it out before his movie. Just a competing opening act movie. Just all comics.
And you and Neil Brennan.
Yes. Just get a competing
Dr.
movie
Ken
going
Steve
so
Byrne.
that he has to at least change the title, which is a fucking logistical nightmare.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I watched his documentary on The Amazing Jonathan.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It's a great documentary.
Great. I should watch. I'm so
a
behind.
big supporter of Steve Byrne.
Yeah.
I've been friends with him for a very long time.
Like you would never say that about him if you didn't love him.
Oh yeah.
I can say like
I'm gonna
Chris
trash
Lee is
this
a dick.
movie until the day it comes out, so it gets pressed. I'll trash it every fucking day. Fucking then I'm gonna write a review. I'm gonna write a review
like
about
a Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm gonna write a review as a journalist, like a mock journalist, and just destroy Segura in it. And the role could have been played better by another guy.
By Bert.
By
who? John Caparulo.
I was just wow, I haven't heard that name in forever.
No. I'm good with pulling names out of fucking nowhere. God. Don't make me drop a Rusty Dooley reference.
I'm not good at casting.
Really?
I'm not good at casting people.
I have a weird, I think because I see myself as such an outsider, I'm really good at casting.
Really?
I'm good at like 4 things, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Like, who would be the voice of your dog in a movie? Who would be Mona in a movie? Who would you cast?
Oh.
Like, that's the kind of shit that I love.
That's a really fun. That's a fun game to play.
It's a very fun game.
The voice of Mona.
And then who would play you in a movie? Who would play me in a movie? I love that shit.
The voice of Mona would be Cristela Alonso.
That's great. So I have a dog that's 100% Rosie Perez. My Mona is Rosie Perez.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like incontrovertible. Everyone that's seen her is like Rosie Perez. Like, yep. Like, it's just. I have a dog that is John Krasinski. I don't even know why.
Priscilla would be, what's a really dumb big woman?
I'm gonna get in trouble if I.
Oh, that's a really horrible question to ask.
I mean,
that's a really.
What if I just got up and left?
What's a horrible question? Never mind. I can't figure out the mind.
You know what I like better? I like what. I know we can't support Louis, but Baskets. It wasn't Louis.
Yeah.
How they put Louis Anderson. It's like you can also cast.
Okay.
You know.
So I'm looking for like a big, gay dude. But Priscilla's just so stupid.
Like a Louis Anderson in.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's smart. But anyone can play stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I'll tell you a fun game that we play that you'll probably enjoy.
Give it.
Is do a comics act, but don't say the words. Just make the noises that the words make.
So comic?
do Crystalia, but don't say words.
Okay.
Like I'll do Tom Segura.
Does he say words?
I'll do Tom Segura. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I wanted to do a stand-up show like 10 years ago that it was like cover comics where comics would come and do other comics acts, but you would do their jokes. So I would do like The Machine.
Oh, I'd love for someone to do it.
Which I'm like, you're probably fucking sick of it by now. But just like the idea of like you do Christina's act, or like, I'll do Nikki Glazer's act. Like, it's just such a funny, dumb little exercise, but it also helps when people do impressions of me. Melissa Villaseñor does this amazing impression of me, and when she does it, people go crazy, and I'm like, that's not me at all. And you realize, oh no, that it helps hold a mirror up to you.
Yeah. Yep.
And okay, so Chris D'Elia,
without using the words.
this is hard.
I'm doing them in my head.
You're doing it. Well, I'm picking one bit. Well, okay, no, but I want to also go like, because when he does impressions of girls, it's like, nah.
Yeah, that's going viral right now.
No, but he's like, huh? Like, he's also gets angry now. Hey, me.
You're just making him sound stupid.
No, but like, I know. Like, because he does this thing now where he's like, I'm right. That's what I'm going to. Yeah, like, and there's a lot of him laughing at himself. This is a really hard, fun game.
Yeah, Ari Shaffir, you ready?
That's hard. That's pretty good. What about Rogan? It is. Okay, who else? I could try to do you.
Oh, I don't even know what I don't even think that I yeah. That's fine. I feel
like we're going crazy. Give me another one. Sebastian.
Oh, this one's
Hold on.
good.
This is good. I can't wait.
This one's really good.
Hey, yeah. Wait. Huh? Hey, right?
Bill Burr.
Yeah, like
Bill Burr.
Wait. It's like Rogan but faster.
I'm sweating.
Me too.
Oh.
No, Burr's more like I think that's good.
Oh.
That's surprisingly harder than it looks.
I know.
Hold on. Kevin Hart?
Oh, I don't think you can do black people. I think
good idea.
Racist.
Smart. Okay.
Cat Williams.
I mean,
Kevin Hart. I guess. Look, if you want to be progressive, then we can do Kevin Hart.
Neil Brennan. Wait, but it's like. There's also that sometimes.
Oh. Okay, Chappelle. Hold on. Wait, no. His voice has gotten a lot deeper lately.
It's. I mean.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. That's right. You got it. I don't think I can do it.
Mic slap.
Wait, there's got to be more. There's got to be Mark Maron.
Oh, Mark Maron.
Hold on. I just like you scream and I'll cry, and together it'll make the perfect sound.
You need two.
We'll harmonize.
It's almost like,
yeah. It's just like.
This is funny shit. This is the funnest it's ever been. Who pointed this out? Because there's an old theory. Method Man once said, "It's not what you're rapping about; it's what you sound like."
Really?
That was what
the harmony.
Yeah, and so I remember applying that in my head, and then we were with Rory Albanese.
Yeah.
And Rory Albanese was saying, I forget how the conversation started, but we were saying that the great comics you can almost mimic.
Yes.
You can mimic their intonation.
Yes.
If you make a noise, you can say it's almost like pacing with rate of utterance and
like music.
Yeah.
Well, that's what like Chris Rock talked about. Like
Chris Rock was
he's like a pastor.
Yeah, and so it really is what you see separate people, and you go, oh, that's what they sound like when they, and it's almost makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
And so we did a tell, which was really easy, and then but I've never gotten this deep. I just hope that everyone finds it as.
I was going to say, I feel like we're going to get in a
do.
lot of trouble for doing this.
I think, look, it's all coming out of love. That's fucking fascinating. I think that
Bobby Lee.
It's so funny because I've been texting with 3 of my close friends. I'll just say that, and I've been saying I'm losing my mind about it. I think it's made me crazy because now all I can hear is people sounding different.
Wow.
First, like sound different first, then write different. And so I started going, well, is that the thing? Is that the thing that, like every comic goes, what advice could you say? Hey, find your voice. Not find what you want to write about. Find what you sound like. Because if you like Seinfeld, Louis Anderson, Roseanne Barr, they all, Dice Clay, they all sound different.
Well, it's also, I mean,
Sam Kinison and Bob Cat Goldthwait used to have problems with each other because they sounded alike.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say, like, and I don't know if this is real or not, but I heard somebody say once, and this is bullshit, but it's interesting. It'll get us to something interesting, which is like a comedian is someone who writes funny jokes and a comic is someone who sounds funny. Yeah. Like you can write great jokes and they're not funny, or you can just be saying drivel and the way, like Roseanne, everything she says is hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm not Roseanne, rest in peace. But I remember we were like in auditions for the Roseanne show and she'd just be like, hey, how are you? And we were laughing. And I was like, is this because it's like Pavlovian? Like I've heard her be funny so many times.
Probably.
But there's also something so funny and it's almost like she's confused by it because everyone's just always laughing at everything she says. There's just something, what she says is also funny, but she just sounds funny.
There's like Mark Norman, Joe List, they sound fun. Like when Mark Norman can make me laugh. Yeah. Can legit make me laugh.
Sebastian, I think, can do that. He's like, hey, how are you? And I'm laughing and I don't even know why.
And then look at John Mulaney's special. By the way, fantastic. Literally a fantastic special.
Excellent.
I will always be real about a special. I just won't mention it if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
My daughter, we were going to a Dodgers game. My daughter Isla's doing his bit about the baby arm out the. This is what you do. You break the window and wave. That's an aggressive way to make a left turn. She's doing the bit to her friends, and I'm listening to it, and I go,
awesome.
And I go, whoa. Is this your bit? And she goes, no, I heard some guy say it on Netflix, and I went, what? And then my other buddy, Eric's like, oh, it's John Mulaney's bit. And I was like, oh my God, my daughters are quoting other comics in the back of my car.
Tricky.
But John Mulaney sounds like an old-timey radio
sounds like
guy.
A radio host. Yeah. Like an auctioneer.
And then,
it's interesting because I actually think, I mean, not to get back to the Hannah Gatsby of it all, but it's like, I think was so exciting because it's like, oh, we can like elevate and wear suits and dress up and like, you know, comedy can be
whatever
an
the fuck
event.
It wants to be.
Yeah.
Like, and I think, by the way, we cannot find, we looked for the Hannah Gatsby quote. We can't find it. I don't know if she deleted it. I'm sure she did.
If it got that kind of reaction.
Yeah, it got a very visceral reaction. But I don't have a problem with comedy being that. Yeah. I would love to hear what it sounded like. Like Can you
imagine if all comedy was the fucking same? I think it's so great that we tune in and one time it's emotional, the next time it's hilarious, the next time the guy's in the suit, the next time the guy's the machine, the next time it's Sebastian. Like we shouldn't be homogenous. I
remember listening to Anthony Jeselnik on his special where he did like 30 minutes talking about Comedy Central, and I was like, oh, it was fucking amazing.
Making fun of him?
Oh, for 30 minutes.
I didn't know that.
And it was like he did 30 minutes of like what he does, you know, like real edgy shit.
Yeah.
And then he talked about the reason he doesn't. Yeah.
Like I feel like he goes high on his setups. Daniel Tosh. We didn't do Tosh.
Oh, this is gonna sound crazy. But you can if you start with Todd Glass, you can work your way to Daniel Tosh.
What?
I know, and that sound crazy. There's a part of it's not close, but they're really close friends. So they talk a lot.
It's like Ogerson and Attell when you're
it's like Ogerson and Attell.
Yeah.
Like
Todd,
I'm trying to think of a Daniel Tosh
I
joke.
can't think of Tosh. Tosh, like a Tosh joke. He's very like I have to work with the face first.
Yeah.
The expression and then the voice for some reason. Tosh is like
Yeah.
like it's really
like sometimes he's like I'm doing a bad
I
Tosh.
feel like it's more like fast for some reason. I don't know why. He's like he's such a sniper. Like
yeah, he's a great joke writer.
I remember like he had been doing a show for a while and he came to the Comedy Store. This must have been like 3 years ago. And it was sort of like he came in and it was like, oh, TV guy, let's see if you still got it, you know? There's this kind of this like joy that I think comics take in someone who's like gotten really successful in TV and then they come back to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, bitch, let's see what you got, you know?
Yeah.
And then he just destroy. I mean, like a fair kill. It wasn't like the guy from TV. It was just fucking, I mean, we were just like, I want this to not go well for you. It just could not have been sharper.
I said that to Jim Jeffries one time. He goes, I was like, hey man, I saw one of your most recent special. He's like, oh yeah, I fucking loved it, and I did not want to like it.
Yeah.
And he goes, why didn't you want to like my special? And I went, I didn't mean for that to slip out.
I mean, I just, you know.
But it's like
I think that's an even bigger compliment.
Yeah, well, I walked.
You started at a deficit and you overcame my.
He immediately, his first words out of his mouth was a joke. And I was like.
On his special?
That's the biggest mistake comics make.
Yeah.
Is they go out and they're like, what's up? It's so good to be here.
Yeah.
I used to come here when I was a little kid. This is so great to see you guys.
Yeah.
What's up? You know, like
let's get in. Let's like what's it? What's the word when you not acclimate, acquaint ourselves.
Yeah. And I think every one of my friends thought I was overthinking it.
Yeah.
But I was like, when I do my special, it's the show should start pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like it should come out and go, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's begin.
This is exciting.
Like I don't think that there's a bunch I could share. I shot at my special in Philly. There's a bunch I could share about my connection with that town and how much I love that town and how my mom grew up there and my grandmother still lives there and it's all edited out.
I'm editing it in my head.
Yeah. Or I could just go, here we go.
Because most people that are watching it aren't in Philly.
The biggest mistake people make when they do specials is they think
the theater matters.
That it has no fucking connection to the show.
I just keep going smaller and smaller and smaller. I shot my last 2 specials in LA so I can sleep in my own bed.
Did you really?
Yeah, so that I can get my crew and sleep in my own bed. Literally, no one has ever watched a special and been like, but where did they shoot it? How many seats?
Never.
In fact, what people actually do is they watch it and they're like, why am I looking at this audience? I don't want to see this guy's Nike shirt in the front row. Get me back to the comic I'm watching. And why are these wide shots showing off the Chicago theater? I do not give a fuck what, it's like, why? So I think
that's when our ego gets into it. When you're like, it's 3,500 seats.
We shoot our specials for other comics.
Sometimes, definitely.
Yeah.
I was told by everyone to wear a shirt on this last one. I was like, I've never done stand up with a shirt on now in fucking like 10 years. I can't start.
No.
I gotta slow roll myself into it.
Why? And it's also like, I don't know. I just like, I think about like in 10 years from now when you look back, you're gonna be like, I wish I had just done what my gut told me to do. I don't think giving notes for each other, it's just, it's what I do is too different than what you do. I can't tell you how to perform on stage.
And once you start getting in the conversation in your head of like, what do other comics think of this bit?
Gone. I lost a good 2 years of writing just for comics and not for what I thought was funny and what people would have thought were funny. I was like, I just want to be as edgy as possible. I just want to make sure the like guy in the back of the room knows not to fuck with me after this set. Like that's why I wrote for the longest time, and it just was such a waste.
What kind of timeline are you giving on yourself to get this special ready?
I just think there's so many specials right now that I don't want to just put out another special.
Great time for a female to put a special out.
Yeah.
That is what is fucking popping.
Really?
Well, yeah. I think it's.
I just think there's so much pressure. It's got to be fucking. I just don't want it to be like, here's a bunch of jokes. Like I want it to sort of be. I have a whole thing that I'm doing, and I have to wait for something to get built to do it. Which is, you'll see what it is. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I just really wanted to. I wanted to feel special and not just kind of here's all the jokes I'm doing right now.
Yeah, so. I have one joke I want to put out right now. I just have one joke.
Me too.
I have one joke where I'm like I don't want to. I almost want to stop telling it so that I'm excited to tell it.
You could do it on a talk show or something.
Yeah, but then part of you is like, that's what. Who's going to see that? I might as well just film it myself and put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, but with social media now and stuff, you can.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so, that is what's so frustrating. It's like, what do I do? Wait, and there's some stuff that I'm doing in clubs that's working, but I'm kind of like, in 6 months, is this going to be like that good?
That is the weird. That part of it. Part of me goes, there's got to be stuff that Bert writes or Rogan writes that's so quick and topical.
But they do it on there. That's why I think
get it up on air.
I think it would be good. I mean, the thing that does appeal to me about doing a podcast is like stuff that's topical. I can just get it out of my system and not wait 8 months to put it in a special, and then I can just focus on the special being sort of more evergreen stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it. I'm going to get you out of here because we've been here forever.
I love
I feel
you
horrible. I could literally.
I just feel like I'm being boring.
I could talk to you forever. I really could. You're not boring, and you're one of the most interesting people in the game. Like you're very diverse, and I'm not joking when I say
so
this. It's like very easily when I left travel or when I got fired from travel, and I started succeeding in podcasting and stand up. And I realized, what was I wasting my time in television for? There was a solid year where I was like, no television for me. Yeah. Like I'm done with that. I'm done. It doesn't pay enough, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And then recently I started thinking to myself, it's okay to have aspirations.
Do it on your terms. That's all.
Yeah.
Just I'm going to do it on my terms.
Yeah. And I've thought about you a bunch because you've done so much. That's so much like doing your own shows, doing your own movie, writing your own book, show running shows that big network shows, doing your own specials, like part of me goes like, I can't wait to get and I want like the Something's Burning we did with Michael Rappaport coming out soon. It's fucking awesome.
I've been texting with him. He's like, what happened to that thing we did?
He saved a fucking plane full of people. Did you know that?
A plane?
Yeah. Some guy tried to open the emergency door and Michael Rappaport attacked him. I'm not certain about that. But that's what I think happened.
Is that true?
I think so. Google it.
I don't think he was trying to open the door. I think he just
freaked out. So, but
no, I'm just saying, Michael, I love him so much, but he'll attack anybody for any reason.
I was just talking bad about.
That was really cool. Like, honestly, you really inspired me that day for a couple reasons. Number one, you were late, which I loved. I was like, show up late to your own taping, like that is A+ power move. I was like, damn, Bert Kreischer. Like,
I was late and I was drunk.
No, that's right. From you had just got off a plane.
I just landed off a plane. I was like, I showed up late and
drunk to his own special, and it really helped me because I was like, look, I can, you know.
I was like, I can't believe they're fucking early. And
I'm always early. I know, it's so embarrassing.
Michael Rappaport, whose name I'm still pronouncing wrong, was losing.
You kept saying Rappaport.
It's Rappaport.
Rappaport. You were saying it like with an accent.
And he goes, bro, that's not my name. And I was like...
Well, no, but you did something that was really, I think for me, whenever I meet somebody that I'm a fan of, I pretend like I've never heard of them or something because I don't want to make them uncomfortable or be like, you know, like unctuous or something. And you just were like, hey, dude, I'm a fan. It is so cool to meet you.
Oh, I would say... That's my biggest strength and my biggest weakness.
Really?
Is I love shit. I love loving shit. I love loving stuff.
But that everyone loves hating stuff, and it was so refreshing that you just went up to him like fucking human to human, and you're like, man, I'm such a fan. Thank you for doing this.
Oh,
you weren't trying to pretend like you were above it. Like
I'm a huge fan of yours.
That's
honestly, it's like
kind.
It's like, you know that Two Broke Girls wasn't written for me. But I watched it all the fucking time because I was like, oh, that's my friend's show. Kat Denning is one of my favorite.
She's unreal.
Favorite. Every favorite. I only met her because you decided to create a show and fucking she got cast in it.
No.
And now she's got a fan because of you. But I love shit. I love loving shit.
But
like when I met Rogan, I was a huge fucking fan of Rogan's. And when I met him, like, and I've said this a lot, and I would never suggest anyone doing this. But the first time I met him, he opened the door to his house, and I was just like, bro, huge fan. I need to see your deprivation tank. I want to meet your dogs. I want to get high, and then we can do a podcast.
What did he say?
And he was like, now that I know him, he was like, okay. All right, come on, man.
Rogan?
Like, very, very, very welcoming, but like, all right, come on, and he showed me the deprivation tank. We went out. I met his dogs.
Yeah.
We went back, got high.
Now that you know him, you know that was
I was
brutal for him. But he's so, like, it's interesting. Like, now that I know him, I don't know. With his friends, he's so ride or die, though.
Yeah, he's all.
Now, if you're like, I want to say, like, but he's good with fans. Like,
he's great with fans. He's better than fans with me because I give them way too much. He just gives them just what they need.
But he handles it with such grace. Like, because for me, I start feeling pressure, and I think maybe because I wrote a book that's really personal, and like I talk about personal shit. People come up to me and they're like, "Hey, I have a UTI," and like in airports, and I'm like people tell me their deepest, darkest secrets all the time. They'll be like, "I just puked in the bathroom because I'm bulimic," and I'm like, okay, like I get really personal shit and I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And I feel like all this pressure to like fix them and save them, and I don't know what they need from me, and I kind of shut down and freak out. And also being a girl traveling alone, it's just like, and then guys try to be like, it's not only guys, but I think guys get embarrassed that they know me, and so they'll come up to me and they'll just be like, "Hey, I don't really know you, but my girlfriend loves you, so can we just take a photo?" And then it makes me feel like I'm some kind of burden on them. Like, I just have a hard time in general.
Well, we forget. Rogan's been famous for 25 years.
That's so weird.
He's been famous.
I forget that.
Since when I was in college.
Because when he was on News Radio?
News Radio was like, I know that everyone says it was like, oh, they were waiting season to season. But like, I remember watching it when I graduated, when I was 26 years old.
It's a big show.
Watching it and going like, oh my God, this show's amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of the best.
See, I don't know that show very well.
It's one of the
weird?
best written sitcoms. Phil Hartman is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman and Andy Dick are like insanely hilarious in every fucking scene. And so like, and then Fear Factor, and then.
Well, that was fucking huge.
I was like, dude, people, I know that Joe had a hard time explaining to audiences that he could do Fear Factor and be a comic, or there was like a transition. I don't.
Well, now he does MMA, and
like,
that's
Like, Fear Factor was a cultural movement. I remember being on TV when Fear Factor came out.
Yeah.
And the grips and the fucking cameramen were talking about it.
But you realize back then there was no Bachelorette. There was
Nothing.
no, like, all these shows.
They had just come out with Survivor.
Yeah.
And then Fear Factor showed up.
Strangers were eating bugs on TV.
And they're like, bro, they're drinking fucking
blood.
Mule cum. And you're like, what?
Before Jackass, before any of that shit.
But way before. And you forget that was like and I think people also forget that he had the rug pulled out from him entirely by the industry. When the Carlos shit went down, Carlos tried to destroy him. I didn't lost
know
his
that.
agent, didn't lose his manager,
I didn't
lost
know
his
that.
agent, like the store banned him. Carlos's biggest mistake, by the way, I don't like that I'm talking about this only because I don't know all of this for certain. I'm just telling you from my perspective.
Yeah.
Carlos's biggest mistake was his ego. He believed he was bigger and always would be bigger than everyone.
I remember one time, and Carlos has been nothing but nice to me.
By the way, I only met him one time. He was a very sweet guy.
He's very fucking nice. It's confusing. But I remember one time, and I'm not the only person this happened to, where I was headlining, and this was back when I didn't headline I was like, for me to headline the Addison Improv was a fucking huge deal.
So, yeah, me too.
And he stopped by and asked to do a guest set in front of the headliner and did like 40 minutes.
I think his biggest mistake,
which is, by the way, great for the crowd. Yeah. They get a great show, and they don't, they're sitting through this child who is, headline, but it's like, it's so weird to me to not think of, if you're a comic, to not think of the impact that has on the comic.
It's equivalent to what Amy did to that kid, where she just walked up and goes, he's headlining. She goes, hey, he's like 12 minutes in. She's like, it's Amy Schumer. Can I just get on stage real quick? And the kid walked out 12 minutes off his set. She did like 15 minutes and then brought him back up. And you're just like, it's hubris. It's like where you go, like you know, and I don't mean to trash Carlos. I don't think that anyone. I don't think that that's good for anybody. But like, he went about it going, "I'll destroy you," and not realizing the resiliency Joe had. By the way, I don't think anyone fucking remembers this. No one listening to Joe right now really remembers what it was like to be a comic, to watch him on news radio, watch him on Fear Factor, watch him stand up for comics, then hear what happened. I went to Aspen that year, and they were like, people just were like, fuck Joe Rogan. That's the way the business works. He lost his fucking agent. His agent fired him because he did that videotape. And Joe was like, no, he's a thief. How can you guys support a thief as opposed to a guy standing up for comics? And wow. Joe was banned from his home, the store. Banned from the store.
I didn't realize he was banned.
He was banned from the store. He didn't perform the store for like 7 years.
I remember because that's when I started, and I remember that video happened, and Carlos was going up doing an hour every night.
And he started his podcast. And by the way, this is why I'm a ride or die motherfucker for Joe for my whole life.
I mean,
he started his podcast on his own. No one. Him and Red Band.
Still, he still fucking books it himself.
Yeah, they did it together, and it turned into what it turned into because of Joe.
Yeah, 100%.
And
his willingness. I think he set the template. Is it template or template? I've never known.
Know.
Template?
Templars?
Tempe Improv. I'm actually there this weekend. That he built an empire not only on his own fucking talent and brilliance and curiosity and playing to the top of everybody's intelligence, including his own, but also supporting comics.
Dude.
He's one of the only guys I know who's like, yes, I'm going to help you, and that doesn't threaten me.
It doesn't threaten you, and I want you to succeed.
That's right.
There's a lot of shit that
no one's like that.
Joe would just go, hey, you don't need to tell everyone all that shit. He's like Burr's like that. Burr's like real like, man, whatever I can do to help. When my special came out on Showtime, we did the End of the World podcast at the store. Me, Stanhope, Burr, Rogan, and Greg Fitzsimmons. I think people forget Greg was there, that he got high and he had to leave because he got too high. And we did that, and Joe opened the special, opened that thing by saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of the biggest podcasts in the country at the time, because it's 3 really star comics and me, or 4 and me. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, this is how he opened it. His Showtime special airs this weekend on Showtime. It's called The Machine. Put your hands together for The Machine, Bert Kreischer. He could have just done that. The very next day, after having just podcasted with me for 4 hours, he puts me on his podcast again to promote my special. And he's like, dude, we're going to pump the shit out of this. That's... Name a comic.
No, I can't name a talk show host, a casting director, a parent who would support someone that much.
He's been like that. Like
he's one of the only, it's interesting because he's so educated about scarcity and how the amygdala works and how neurology works, yet he doesn't perceive any threats among other comics.
No, he doesn't.
There's no scarcity.
To like an extreme.
Yes.
He really wants, and if you're
everyone
a cunt,
to win.
He just sniffs it out.
But he's also smart because it really is very Joe is many things, and I think rational is one of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's very fair and he's very just, and I think he understands that, like, there's no way mathematically, if you get into the metrics, that you doing amazingly well, if tomorrow you made $50 million and had TV3, that would not hurt me in any way. Yeah. In fact, it helps me because it makes comedy cool and hot and so it's like, the one thing I will say, which I sort of noticed afterwards and I wasn't able to see it while I was in it, was like, when I did that show at NBC, there were no comics that had shows at the time. Certainly not multicams.
None.
It was all actors doing all the comedy jobs. And it was like this weird thing where, because it was, Raymond and Kevin James and all those guys were getting all those deals out of Montreal, and that kind of went away. And then it went into like single cam, like a bunch of actors being awkward and glib, which is what all those, sort of shows were at the time, which are funny and I'm a fan of them. But like comics coming out when, doing multicams wasn't really happening.
No.
And then, I see the show, whatever, we did 40 something episodes. I don't see that as a failure, but it was, then all of a sudden people were getting shows, and someone came up to me in the Comedy Store and were like, you started that. And I don't think I started it, but something happened in the business where they were like, oh, right, comedians should be stars of sitcoms. That's what television's built on. I think it just kind of reminded everybody.
I'm telling you, it's,
it helps when a comic does well, everybody wins. Like, the ships rise with the...
I think that's look at all the people Joe's put on, and I mean, and really have kind of blossomed, myself massively included.
Yeah.
Is he just puts you on and just lets you be you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And fucks with you, breaks your balls.
Yeah.
Sometimes says shit, like sometimes it'll be too real.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll get fucking way too crazy.
Sometimes your Twitter at replies he was so sweet with, like, I mean, because the last time I went on there, we were talking about the Me Too movement and all this kind of stuff, and I don't talk about it much. It's in the book. Just I don't keep it a secret. But I've, as any woman has, dealt with a bunch of sexual assault stuff, and so I was really raw at the time and was sort of talking about my point of view of what I think, and it was a really healthy, interesting dialogue. No disrespect at all, but like the comments I was getting from men online were so gnarly. Like I was like scared, and he called me that night and was like he just said exactly what I needed to hear and was so gentle and cool about it. He's like, do you want me to take it down? Do you want me to say something? Like, I was like, no, please. But he was just so gracious and so,
he's the best.
So unnecessary. He did not need to do that. Like went out of his way.
Yeah. He's, I mean, I don't think you're maybe, I'm sure I'll say something bad about him. Let's see if I can think of something.
And also
bad.
he'll defend comics and I feel bad because I think I did say something out of turn. I don't know Owen Benjamin, like what he's doing right now.
Wait, he just had a video about you.
I know, and I haven't seen it, and I have.
Wait, you haven't watched it?
No.
Was it? I started watching it. It was too long.
I don't want to know. And I
think it's good.
I hear things.
Looks like it's good.
I don't know. Don't please the comment. I saw one thing on his Instagram because he tagged me, and someone said something about my face, and I was like, I just shouldn't even get into this. But like, it was just
that's so bizarre.
Reading comments about me
about your face. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Like, but that's fucking ridiculous.
That's so nice.
They say something about my double chin. I go, okay, you nailed it. Fuck. I did gain weight.
And I don't know what's going on. Owen and I were friends. I mean, we were totally buddies back in the day, and I have nothing but love for Owen. But I think he's, whatever he's doing, I don't even know. I hear things, but we were talking about it, and like Joe's the first person to be like, you know what? Sometimes people, like he'll sympathize with, the people that everybody wants to attack, and he's so gracious and classy about it. Yeah.
Like, look, I love Owen. I'll always love Owen.
I don't really know what's going on. I made a joke, not a joke even, on Theo's podcast, and I was just like, isn't he a white supremacist now? Because that's what people keep telling me.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have said that because I haven't seen his tweets, so I don't know.
No, he's just. Look, sometimes you go on tilt. I like what is it? Go off the reservation. Fucking the wheels come off.
But once I do think that like there's this thing now with Twitter, like and all this stuff, like it's you, and I see myself doing it. Like whatever gets you attention, you might keep doing. That's human nature, I on Instagram this weekend, it was 117 degrees. I was in my bathing suit in my pool.
You got a lot of views.
I mean,
a lot of views.
I never let my boobs out. They're never out.
A lot of views. God, can I tell you? Secret time. I fucking saw that and I was like, I want tits. That was fucking like 390,000 views when I looked. I was like, wait, it's so funny because I only saw you because I talk about your dog so much. I only saw the dogs and I thought, I swear to God, I thought, how does she get her dogs in the pool? I want to get Priscilla in the pool. And then I was like, oh yeah, you would want to make sure the dog knows how to get out. And then I was like, wait, 390,000 views. I think at the time when I looked and I was like, for a dog training video? And then I went, she's also fucking hot as shit in the fucking bikini. Oh,
I never show my body, my boot. Like it's just I'm a comic and that's what I do. And and I was in a bit, and I had like some side boob, and I think that my side boob is so unsightly. It looks like a
unsightly. My side boob is unsightly.
It is, but it's like on this, and it was like all pudged out, and it looked like my shoulder looked just like a weird vagina. And so I was like, I shouldn't post this. And it was like, okay, that's what you need to do to get likes. All those photos of me at the Improv doing stand-up are not doing so well.
32,000 likes on the 139,000 views on the dog training video. 32,000 likes on
the boob one,
on the dog picture with you and your dogs. And by the way, can I tell you that these are my independent thoughts?
Yes.
The one of you filling up with gas. I love that picture. 31,000 views.
Yeah, I'm wearing a sports bra.
Yeah, it looks great, but all I thought was, wait, is she driving with someone in the car? Did someone take the picture?
Someone was there.
Because I was like, my wife takes the
like,
worst
who took
fucking
that photo?
pictures.
Yes, I had somebody with me, and I screamed at him to do it in portrait mode to get it good.
Vin Diesel, no bikini, 3,000 views.
I mean, brutal.
What, badly.
So I guess what I was saying is like sometimes we have to.
Oh, I loved the American flag bikini you were wearing. I had so many questions about that trip.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, wait, where is she? It looked like you were
Lake Arrowhead. A lake.
Yeah.
I'm a lake person. I'm not a beach person. I like lakes. All America. And I think that this year, like, there were so many people that were like, America's in a tough time. I'm like, I'm wearing my fucking American flag bikini. I'm patriotic. Like, we can still celebrate.
I love when you clean your closet. I love when you clean your closet.
You're the king of fucking Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing on
Not
there.
even remotely.
You're great at it. You're great at it.
I got a lot of hate today because I showed my guns and my legit firearms.
That is, I mean, intense. I mean,
motherfucker, Netflix is dropping 47 comedy specials on the same day.
No, it's 47 sets.
Oh.
It's not specials.
I was like, please don't be on the date mine comes out.
No, fuck. God damn it. To finish my point, we're really just in like random stoner conversation.
No,
I was just saying we keep doing like, and now I'm kind of like, maybe I should go for a swim and take a picture. I'm like, no, don't, you fucking sell out. Like, don't do that.
All I do is Speedo videos because people, but then I stopped doing them because people were like, enough, Bert, enough. I was already telling you I wanted to shoot a promo video of for your Tempe date this weekend. And shoot it and give it to you, but I've been thinking about it all day because I'm like, I could do something with my daughters, and then like them going something.
Got to sell 3,000 tickets.
Tempe's big.
Tempe's huge.
It's a big walkout though.
Yeah.
Let's end on that. We got to get you out of here. I'm going to talk to you for 2 minutes after this.
Yeah, no, but
and then right now you're going to hear me read. By the way, I will tell you this right now.
What are you going to read?
I'm reading the excerpt of your book.
Which one? The eating disorder? Oh, God. No. It's not an excerpt. It's a chapter.
It's a chapter. I'm going to read the chapter. We're going to put it on here. Now, I want to do a preface to you.
Okay.
Is I'm not a good out loud reader. And so.
Why don't you just play my audiobook?
Nope.
I read it.
Nope.
It's going to take you 6 days.
Nope.
You're going to get carpal tunnel of the face.
Here's why. Is my audiobook outperformed my book in leaps and bounds. It's still on the charts because I can't read good out loud. And so the comedy that is inherent in
is
me
you
not reading.
Fuck.
So we're going to read about your abortion.
By the way, I recorded the audiobook the first day I went in and I was booked for 8 hours. I left after 40 minutes. I was like, fuck this. Fuck. I got angry and I started crying because it was so, I was like, I wrote this. Why can't, like I just had such a hard time with it.
We're going to start with me reading it. And if it doesn't work out good, my wife will read it. Because we can have Isla read it. She's dyslexic.
Are you going to video yourself reading it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Will you make sure that I own that video?
Of course. By the way, if it gets to a point where I'm like, this is not as funny as I thought it would be, I'm going to have Leanne read it. She'll read it. She's a really good out loud reader. But yeah, my audiobook, it took me 27 hours to read 5 hours. A 5-hour audiobook took me 27 hours to read it.
No, I went in 6 days.
Oh yeah, I went in for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. It took me fucking forever.
I cried. There's a chapter where I cry. And I was emotional about the book because I'm talking about emotional things, but I also was just so frustrated that I was crying.
Well, I can't wait. I just ordered the book on Kindle while you were on your phone call.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm excited to read it. I'm really excited to read it about all parts.
But it's also like your thing about how before when you said the book didn't, perform the way that you wanted it to when it first came out. Mine came out the day of the Vegas shooting. It's like there's second, third, it's like there's.
Oh yeah.
It's a long. Books are a long game. I feel like you sell them at shows. Do you sell them after your shows? Oh, excuse me.
Take your time. I'll tell you about it. It's really interesting.
Are you not allowed to talk about it?
I can't talk about it yet, but I'll tell you about it.
You should have 1 billion how to be a man books.
I think I'm so not a man.
Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that. I mean like how to own a gun, how to do it. Like you would just be so.
Okay.
Let's stop talking about that.
That's what my next. I have a bit about buying a gun on my next special.
Okay, sorry.
That I'm working on. No. There's no stepping on it. But you're so right. But I think I'm the man I am is so fucking bad at everything.
But that's what's great about it because I think that there's this impossible, there's an impossible standard of beauty for women, there's this impossible standard of manhood for men, and to where men are constantly being made to feel insecure because they're not Rogan or they can't do MMA or they can't hunt.
I got insecure posting the video of my fucking gun next to my bedside. I didn't even realize it's in there. My bedside's such a mess.
Yeah.
I have 2 guns and someone's like, bro, what are you, a detective?
But it's
like you have guns next to your bed?
Are you Bruce Willis?
Like, are you a private dick?
But I think that it's like I just would love to hear a man say like, I have guns but I don't really know which one, like just to sort of show your humanity. And like parenting, like a book about parenting from a man like you would be, I'd get that for everyone for Christmas.
That's so funny. That's the one, when I went to talk about my first book deal, that's the one thing they go, we'll buy anything except for a book of parenting. I went, really? And they go, every comic thinks they know how to parent and they're all horrible parents. And I went, I was like, okay.
Yeah, but that was back when you couldn't back it up with the authentic, constant, uploading that we do now. So it sort of is like before there was more mystery, but it's like now people really see you with your daughters and stuff every day.
We'll end on this. I got to get you the fuck out of here.
I know, it's you.
How long have we been going?
Pee so bad.
So this was here. I'll tell you the last thing. Okay. So this was my cold open. That I wanted to write yesterday.
Yeah.
I go to get fried chicken with my daughter Isla, who is not want to be in the car, right? Yeah. And she's sitting in the front of my car, and she is taking her shoes on and off and putting her feet on my dashboard.
Yeah.
And I go, hey. Like in my head, my kids have a disrespect for private property.
Right.
They just don't realize that this car costs money.
Yeah.
And they're just putting their feet on. I go, don't put your fucking feet on the fucking dashboard.
Yeah.
And she goes, why? I go, because that's my dashboard. She goes, I'm trying to get my shoes on. I go, put them on regular. She goes, it's easier this way. I go, put your foot on that dashboard one more time and I'll break your fucking nose, as a joke, right? And she goes, looks at me. And dashboard. And in the pilot, I want to do all of that, but as she does, I want the airbag to go off, and I want her knee to break her nose.
Great.
I was like,
A+ cold open. A+. And then you have to take her to the fucking doctor, and you're like, oh shit.
I was putting my thing. He said he's gonna break my fucking nose.
It's great. Excellent.
Hopefully they still have a Girl Scout meeting going on in there, and I can walk you by the Girl Scouts.
Is there a Girl Scout meeting in your house right now?
I'm almost fucking certain.
That is, I cannot get into there fast enough to see this.
Okay, all right.
I don't think I've ever seen a Girl Scout meeting.
Thank you for doing this, Whitney.
No, my pleasure.